Hey guys, how's it going? So, today I finally wanted to get back into playing some more Arknights IS2. I did finally go ahead and actually learn some of the mechanics behind the playwright, so hopefully that fight will be a little bit easier. I think the last time we played, we actually somehow managed to beat it on support squad. But we got really lucky. It feels like either you need the DPS through collectibles to beat the boss in the upper right corner, or you need to stall the center line until he manages to come back through all the way through. But we managed to do it last time, so maybe we'll be able to get another win on it. I did make a bunch of upgrades since last time. I've been raising like suzerain, so I have a good supporter option that's not Skalter. I've raised a bunch of modules. I mean, we should have a lot more to work with now. But I also wanted to start out with doing the new monthly squad. I keep clicking the wrong button. Oops. But I wanted to start out with the new monthly squad. So it should be Nearl, Carnelian, and Earthspirit. And what's interesting is I was actually looking at the wiki here. I've got it pulled up here, and they show the logs for each of the like monthly squads, the communication records that they have, and this is the last one that they have logged. So it's possible that they do something different with the EN server. I think a really good example of that recently is that the Dorothy banner actually was supposed to come before the Gabriel the Invincible and Pozemka banner, and not only did that not happen, I mean, we just had Ideal City, we have these two new banners instead as well. I am interested to see how she turns out as a unit. The 4 units I'm thinking about rolling on for the next like 6 months, because I don't know if I'll roll on Reed Alter. She looks like an interesting unit though. Are Molinar, Dorothy, and then Texas the Omertosa and Penance from that event banner. I think all 4 of them will be pretty solid units. I know I saw that there was like a tier list actually from CN server that was made real recently, and I think it was literally number 1 was Molinar, 2 was Surtur, 3 was Skalter, 4 was Nearl the Radiant Knight, and 5 was Texas the Omertosa. And I think Texas Alter will actually be really good for us, just because we use Project Red all the time. Just in general, I just use her a lot. She was my first 5-star. Texas the Omertosa seems to basically fill the same role, but a whole lot better. But let's go ahead and hop into the monthly squad. I don't know how this will go. We have Royal Brooch. This one's okay. Sometimes it's really helpful. Sometimes the one-time dodge is just completely forgettable. We'll see how this goes. As far as squads we can take, I think on these monthly squads it does always just let you take the base squads. It doesn't let you take the insta upgrade ones, which does make sense. I usually just go ahead and try to get to the 5th floor so I can have the communication recorder. I actually really regret not playing this mode when it first came out, because there's a ton of the conversations I don't have. And you can look them up, but I kind of like just having them. Alright. Oh, one sec. Looking at my phone real quick. Alright. Oh, I didn't even get to read that. Looks like Carnelian's mentioning some brooches. Oh, that's the brooch that we just had as our starter collectible. I don't think last time I read that either. I do like those little stories that they give, but I'm not usually super into reading them on stream. Don't think I have the voice acting ability to do it. Let's see. So, Carnelian, I believe, doesn't attack. Yeah, I was gonna say, I have her. She's very similar to the... I believe it's called the Liberator branch, and I think Angelina also has a couple skills that function in the same way, where they don't attack unless the skill's active. This comp in general just kind of seems like a stall with Nearl, while the other two kind of whittle them down. And we do at least have some sustain in the starter bit with Nearl. Let's try this. And then... I'm actually going to go with this first skill here, and that one. We'll see how this goes. It's funny, because as much as I use Nearl Alter, I almost never use base Nearl. I think she's still like E140 or something like that for me. Go ahead and do this. I was about to deploy Carnelian immediately, but I don't actually think there's a point in doing that. I also don't think there's that much range damage, and so with the extra resistances she gets when she's not being attacked, or not using her skill, sorry, I think she'll be okay. We'll have to see. I don't use Earthspirit a whole lot. Honestly, I don't use the supporter class in general a whole lot. I feel like when I'm using him, and I'm just gonna... Oh, okay, so she has a double charge skill. I usually use Skalter to like support Mudrock or for S2 or S3. Or I'll use someone like Ling, just kind of mess around. for solo clears and such, but overall, I don't use the supporter class a whole lot, and I've been trying to raise something like Suzerain that'll be a little more helpful. That does do a lot of damage, well. I recently got Carnelian, actually. She's like E1 something. So I'll have to... I need to get better caster coverage because I don't have Passenger, I don't have AF Like, overall, when it comes to using casters, I just am not super equipped. I mean, I have a max level Dusk, but I wouldn't say that Dusk is... Dusk is really fun for stalling enemies almost indefinitely. But... I don't know. Let's see. It's 4 extra max help, and because we went support squad, we can immediately get a 6-star operator. You know, let's just upgrade Carnelian. I think early on having extra bodies on the field is always really nice, but I'm curious to see what she does at E2, so that I know if I want to E2 my own. Because I have a few operators like Helliger that I just don't ever think I'll raise, unless I'm sitting on a ton of resources. I think I approve of friendship. With support squad, the first shop's usually really profitable. This is decent, yeah. Another caster voucher, huh? And then Mr. Rumbles. These little gadgets I actually think are pretty underrated because they don't count towards deployment limit. They don't cost a whole lot of points to deploy, and they're just generally pretty helpful. I'm gonna go top path here. We could get 2 combats if we went bottom side, but I kind of want the emergency ops for a free relic. Free ingots? This actually could go poorly. Interesting. I have read S3 before. I didn't know what S1 and S2 did, but the continual damage increasing. The problem here is because we don't have a second blocker for this particular stage, I'm gonna obviously block the slugs in this side here. And then I think what I might actually do is stick Carnelian here and hope she just doesn't die. Oh goodness, this is gonna be a little sketchy. Yeah, that one's gonna get through. And we might not even go for the fully charged effect. Ooh, sorry, I had to sneeze. We might not even go for the fully charged effect in the hope that Carnelian can kill a few of these, but we might die. Ugh. I actually don't think this is a bad starting squad, but I feel like recently I've been getting dumpstered on the monthly squads. Don't know what it is. This guy's gonna get through. Wow, this is gonna be a really fast fail to run. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, if I'd realized, I would have either taken the extra caster voucher or just recruited another caster instead of doing what I did. But you can never really know. We still might be okay. Just gonna go ahead and pop that. Okay, 10 more units. 8 more, 4 more here. Oh, that's bad timing. We needed her to do one more shot on this guy. Unless... Okay, I think... Oh, the issue is I think one of these... Oh... Yeah, that's unfortunate. That was a very quickly failed run. I definitely misplayed there. I had the opportunity to get an extra caster and the opportunity to get a different one instead of upgrading Carnelian. And Carnelian was doing a really good job there, but that's really awkward. Because we had a really good start too. We had, I think, what, 2 extra deployment limit and squad limit as well from our first shop. But oh well, that's just a misplay on my part. Let's see. I am by no means great at this game. I have like some of the best units in the game, and I still sometimes lose to random stages. You should have seen me on the last stage of this last event, Ideal City. The IS stages. I think it was the 2nd week that they unlocked. I got dumpstered a few times on stages I should not have lost to because I wasn't using mechanics properly. That being said though, as always, I don't think any of the starting stages are going to be a problem for us. The only way I think they do is if Nearl gets overwhelmed by them having more than 3 blocks. Or 3 units needing to be blocked. But we can kind of bypass that too by just letting Carnelian use her uncharged skill. It is a noticeable DPS difference on both S2 and S3 from what I could tell when it's overcharged, which makes sense. But I also feel like for a unit like this, at least in IS2 where you're using so much hope to recruit 6-star units, having a unit that just has so much downtime, where she's literally doing nothing. It's nice that she's tankier, especially since she's a caster, but this is kind of what I was afraid from in raising her to E2. Because I try actively to only raise units to E2 that I think will be very, very useful. And I don't know, I don't think she's bad, but it makes me nervous to invest in her. But one thing I do really love about IS2 is it forces you to use units that you wouldn't ordinarily use. I think that in any game mode is really, really cool. And even if one of these gets through, Carnelian's skill should be back up. And it looks like we're okay. Nice. I feel like unless you do the 3 random vouchers and you get really bent over, you almost never lose lives on the first stage. But I definitely have died on the first stage. Doing really dumb stuff. Ooh, Pith, okay. I was about to say let's just grab Lava here, but Pith also works. I'm not taking Mantle of the Wrongly Condemned. This could be interesting. I'm worried about these guys just straight up demolishing Nearl, and then we have basically no block. But it's early and on enough, and we've already failed the monthly squad once, so... Worst comes to worst, we do another quick restart. It's a little weird, I don't know... I didn't think it was scripted, what vouchers you got. But we have gotten 2 caster vouchers, like, immediately both times. And for me, I've mentioned this before, caster and I think supporter are some of the weakest possible categories for me. I also hate to put Nearl down before Pith on a stage like this where there actually might be threat on him. Or her, I don't know what it is. Let's just go like this. Trying to remember if there is actually any range on this stage aside from the puppet, because the puppet will survive the flames on this particular stage. Let's see, get Carnelian charging. Carnelian also, I will say, feels like the type of character that you can't lead with. Which makes sense, given that she's a Phalanx caster, but... Like, and when I beat my leads, you can't even put her on early on, because she does literally nothing until at least her original base skill is charged. Let alone the double charge. However, in IS2, I think she could really shine by getting those, like, auto-recovery charge collectibles. If you got a couple of those, like we've seen how fast it works on Rosa, because Rosa's basically the only thing I can use to defeat the puppets on the right side, because I still haven't raised my Ifrit. Rosa will just absolutely demolish those because she'll get her second skill up, or third skill, sorry, up so often. I really don't want to use... Yeah, that thing did a hefty amount of damage, but it didn't do as much to Nearl as I thought it might. I could have used this earlier, I guess, too. I am really glad this starter monthly squad has some healing, even if it is just Nearl's S1. Because I think that's part of the reason we really struggled last month. Because I'm pretty sure we didn't have a base medic and we were just getting run over. Because we keep greedy. Hey, and just like we were talking about, we got that and we got a medic. If I really want to be greedy, I could go Kaltzit. Kaltzit's actually grown on me a lot recently. You don't really use her to be a medic, but if you have an excess of medic vouchers, it can go really well. Let's go ahead and grab... Oh, okay. Interesting. We might as well just promote Earthspirit for free. Well, not for free, but for a little bit. We're gonna grab Myrtle here. I just think Myrtle... I have noticed on the playwright, Myrtle does sometimes just get annihilated early, but we just got a really good shot for casters. But we'll talk about the mechanics on the... fourth boss a little bit more as we move forward. We do, however, not have any more squad space after this, which is a bit of a concern. But as always with the monthly squad, we're just looking to hit the 5th floor, get the last dialogue, and then get on with our actual unlocks. I will go for the extra hope. I don't know if we level up this last one. This one isn't actually too bad. We'll have to see. I don't like that treasure chest positioning. I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably just gonna let it go and then drop Nearl there. We do have a medic, so we could probably be greedy and get away with it. But that's the type of thing that most of the time I just don't. We actually are going to take some damage here, though. Yeah, even with Myrtle, we're gonna need a couple more melee units, I think, early on. Hopefully we don't die. That would be... it'd be so awkward if we just died again. So we're gonna do this. I'm not sure where I want to deploy Carnelian. I'm not sure... like, I have no idea what's good positioning on her. But ultimately, I think that is one thing about IS2 in particular, is sometimes you really... We maybe could have avoided taking damage there, but sometimes it is just something you can't really avoid. But that's what makes the mechanic of having potentially a really big stockpile of life, of being able to carry it from stage to stage, also really cool. I'm going to hold this, I think, until this guy goes through. Just see if Carnelian is capable of taking him out. Where is he going now? Looks like they're going now. That quick little bind is really helpful. I mean, just... even with the extra auto recovery, to me, it doesn't feel super worth it. Like, she was able to take care of the really rough spot for us in that stage. But if we'd had another caster that was, say, chipping away at this entire line the entire time, that also could have worked. Who knows, though? I'd have to look at what people actually think of, I don't think tier lists tend to be, like, super definitive. But a lot of times when you find, like, community compiled tier lists for games like this, they're generally pretty accurate. This is our opportunity to get something good. I did actually raise my thorns to E2, I believe 60. I usually stop my 6 stars. I used to raise them up to 90, that's why I have a good number up at A2 90, like Siege and Texas and whatnot, or max level. But I've kind of stopped it around E2 60 for 6 stars and then E2 50 for 5 stars, because that's when they can get their module if they have one. And that usually gives them some decent stats. Obviously not the crazy best, but enough that they're not going to have a problem. I actually kind of want to do Gabrielle the Invincible here, though, just because we're having trouble with blocking. And she has a lot of block for it, Centurion Guard. What to see. As far as who we'll replace her with, I'll read this later. I usually just read that later. Oh, that's a tough one. I honestly feel like it's probably Carnelian or Earthspirit. Yeah, I mean, it is arguably not... I haven't messed around with some of these other skills too. I'm gonna try this actually. I don't think we need the extra healing. But I'm just not, I think, experienced enough with using Carnelian for it to be a good idea. Let's see what our 3rd floor boss is. I don't check this enough. Theft from above. We are going to need some more anti-air then. Let's stop by this rogue trader. It stinks to miss out on the emergency op, but we can potentially get a little bit more from the rogue trader. So I'm gonna go ahead and head there. But I don't know what it is. For a long time I felt like the monthly squads were really easy. Like, if I failed, it was once. On the first, like, 3 or 4 I did. And then last time I think we tried, like, 5 or 6 times, and it was really awkward. And then... I mean, this time we've already lost once, and we... had kind of a close call, honestly. I didn't think we were in a great spot for a second there. Luckily, we do have just enough in the deployment versus squad limit department that we can deploy everyone that we have active. But I do really like Gabrielle the Invincible and Pozemka. I think they're both really, really solid units, and they're both really fun to play. Because much as I like the Centurion class, much as I like, say, Blaze, I just think that Blaze is a little bit meant to be... To me, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you could argue, like, every character, you just kind of click their skill and let them do their thing. But to me, Blaze feels less like I'm doing anything, because I'm usually using S2, because that's her best skill, and you just set her there, wait for her skill to go up, and then just watch her kill things. I've been using her in the new, what's it called? Where you get the materials to level up modules. And she's pretty solid. You give her some extra buffs, some extra block count and such, and she does really well. But I also just really like Gabrielle. I feel like this is the case for a good number of people, but I did use Gabrielle for a very long time. prior to having any good medics. Just because she was free in the, I can never remember what it's called, but the pink ticket store. And she's a pretty solid early medic. I still don't have Nightingale as well. I still can't help but feel that Nightingale's got to be pretty good, for the playwright fight. Like, I'd have to imagine that extra resistance would work pretty well in our favor. But I don't have her, and I'm not going to borrow friends to start with Nightingale. I think that would be a really weak start. Here I actually am just going to upgrade Carnelian. I know we're not using her right now, and in fact it might be worth it to switch her with Pith now. But I'm just thinking in advance for Jetman. I don't know if she'll be able to one-cycle him, but Jetman goes around in a circle like 3 times. That I don't think is helpful. That's okay. I mean, it's not super helpful right now, it's just affecting Telopsis, but extra healing never hurts. I'm gonna just save here. Beast fighting. I do not think we're equipped to do this stage. That stage is one of the perfect examples of why I like having at least one fast redeploy operator. I could take the extra fight, but not gonna worry about it. You know what, here, let's take a... yeah, I was gonna say... well... do we go with the safe play and take squad space so we can also bring Pith, or do we go for the greedy play and upgrade Gaviel to Invincible? I know what I'm doing. Sculptor and statue, oh, it's this one. I'm actually kind of glad we did that. I think this will be a little bit more useful than having Pith on this stage. This is one of the new stages, though, that I think they did a good job with. I actually quite like it. But it is difficult. These enemies, seeing them on the 3rd floor, is terrifying. Because sometimes you just straight up don't have the damage to destroy them that fast, and it's a problem. And I always just knock down that pillar immediately. What is the range on her skill? Okay, that's actually shorter than I thought it was. Shouldn't be an issue though, we still have Colossus here. I'm pretty sure an E2 Gaviel Invincible can take care of most of this stage by herself, and an E2 Carnelian right above her should never be in threat. And we'll just have her save her charge skill probably for when a big bunch of these guys go through. Did I switch her skill? I did, okay. I was about to say, I thought I left it. I've done that so many times and it's messed me over. Because the extra stats from E2 are nice, but a lot of times... well, not for every operator, but for a lot of operators, I feel like you're E2ing them in IS2 to get access to 3rd skill. And so not having it is an issue. But yeah, Gaviel just goes crazy with this skill. It really does make me hope, though, because I don't remember who it was, but someone that, like, was pretty big in the Arknights community commenting that they didn't actually think that we would ever get, some of the more aggressive forms, because a lot of times... some of the more aggressive forms for characters like Gaviel, that's not good. That's what I was afraid of. But some of the more aggressive, like, past versions in a sense, if that makes sense. Because most of the altars that we see are some kind of almost future-esque version of the operator. And so seeing like Shining from the past when she would still attack, or Gaviel was another good example, and I think they kind of fit that really well into the Ideal City event, just having Gaviel going back to her hometown. But it really does make you wonder, what reason could there possibly be for Shining to like take up her sword and actually fight again, given that she generally just travels with Nearl and Nightingale, and there's just not really a reason for her to. We'll probably... I'm actually going to do this, and the reason being, DB generation is nice, but a lot of times I use red on this stage to specifically bait Jetman's initial attack. Don't know if that's the play, but we'll give it a try. Because if you put red right about here and he flies, then right about here is where he lands. I'm a little worried about the drones though. Potentially needing to focus... or sorry, have Carnelian be our main anti-air is a bit sketchy. We had a couple other extra caster options, but kind of decided against it. I don't know if that was necessary either. Jetman is an interesting stage though. My units are so heavily invested in snipers and guards that most of the time I don't have a hard time with Jetman, but I've heard, I was looking online, and a lot of people were saying that Jetman was their least favorite third floor boss to run into. Mine is the puppet. Even with the raised Colossus, I hate fighting the thing. That actually worked out really well because he's still in her range right there. And I believe it's her S2 that actually gives her range on that. I am worried about Colossus eventually getting taken out while, like when the big bunch of purple drones come through. But that's a problem we'll deal with later, because we might die to drones. And that's out of her range. Yeah, it looks like even with skill up, Earthspirit isn't able to take out one of those drones. That is actually somewhat disappointing, if I'm being honest. I really don't want to use that now, but it's fine. We just need to destroy enough of the drones that we don't die. See, I maybe use that. Ooh. Okay, that worked out pretty well. That could have gone a lot worse. I'm also holding red for no reason. I can just drop her. One issue I have had with red, though, is part of what really makes her shine, I think, is with her module upgrades that I have for her. Or is it module upgrades? Yeah, no, I'm an idiot, yeah. I don't know why I thought for a second I didn't have them. But I think that's what really makes her shine. With the extra guaranteed damage on attack from her talent. And she just doesn't have that. I think these two drones will probably get through. Hopefully they don't kill our healer. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I almost never, if ever, die to the third boss. But it happens, I feel like, an absurd amount of times when we play the monthly squad. And the truth is, it's probably just because I'm bad. But we'll see. We just have to make it to the 5th floor now. We just have to clear the 4th floor. And then we'll exit out and we'll start doing some playwright runs. I don't know how long I'm going to stream today. I was planning on playing some games with the friends today. Oh, because it's temporary recruit, we do actually get her medical defender. I really like Nearl. Even if I don't have her guard form. But her medical defender module. I didn't even think about that. I don't think this is going to be helpful. Even Tide Terror could help keep us alive, though. In all honesty, I just kind of want to take a risk-averse path here. We'll have 1, 2, 3 fights, it looks like, no matter what. Oh, that's nice. Actually, let's upgrade our medic. Alright, that's not going to go well. That's also not going to go. I think this is the lesser of two evils here. I don't think either of these stages is going to be very good for us, to be honest. It will depend on... Well... we actually might be okay. Because I would have to assume that an E2 Nearl and an E2 Gabriel the Invincible should be able to take the Chargers, even the stronger ones. If I'm wrong, though, and we'll have a chance to test at least the basic ones here. Oh, right, we have the negation from first damage. I was super confused there for a second. That actually works out really well with red, because we can just throw red in there and have her absorb one of the hits. Because she'll absorb this first one, and then that'll hit Nearl's. I'm not sure where I want to deploy Carnelian, so we're just going to go with here. And the reasoning there is that way Carnelian can help with Nearl's lane, and then hopefully Gabriel the Invincible actually has enough damage to deal with it on her own. That does hurt. I am actually really concerned that the stronger ones might be able to one-shot us. And in all honesty, this might be a stage where we just... This might be a stage where we just dump Carnelian's, not the second charge skill, just the first one, whenever it's up. Wait, do we have dodge of some kind? Why did that do damage? This stage does become a joke if you have the collectible that makes you not take damage from Sarkov's enemies. Oh. We just died. I think. Why didn't I activate that sooner? I could have saved myself a life there by activating Carnelian's skill for sooner. But that being said, we are dead. Dang it. Yeah, I'm definitely misplaying here. I wouldn't even say this is really voucher luck. There we tried to take the greedy safe path so that we'd only have to take one fight. And we did go for a path that put us, like, the anti-air stage would have been even worse, I think. We would have just gotten dumpstered. I could also look at taking a different squad, but I just think support squad's generally the best squad of those base ones. Survivalist, huh? We'll keep trying. I want to get at least a couple attempts in. Doing IS2 runs in general takes forever, but I do want to get at least a couple attempts in on the player if I can. Sometimes we get really bad RNG too on encounters. I know we've tried so many times where we just haven't been able to even fight the player because we never got the encounters. I immediately forgot that we had Survivalist. That's really awkward. I mean, Nearl should be okay. I would have to imagine Nearl alone can probably just do this stage solo with Survivalist on. It would just be the big boys. That would be a problem. That's probably what I should have saved Earthspirit for, because I don't even know if we can check. I don't even know if Carnelian will survive to... she won't survive to get second charge skill, but she should be here long enough to do this. She has grown on me though. When her skill's up, she does an impressive amount of damage. Same with base Nearl, actually. Like, she feels like, and I think it's kind of the point since she's a 5-star unit, she feels like somewhere in the middle of, like, you know, Soraya being able to basically keep everyone alive around her, but still ahead of, say, like, Spot, who stops attacking completely and doesn't feel super... Like, I know people really like Spot because of the being able to heal other units in a similar way to Nearl, but I actually just actively don't like using Spot, because if I'm going to use an early game 3-star tank, I'm just going to use Cardigan, because their self-sustain is so high. Hey, we finally got a non-caster voucher at the start. I'm tempted to start with Thorns. The issue is, because I was borrowing a Thorns from a friend, I really don't have much experience in how well he does without Destreza. And you know what, I'm actually going to do this. Wait, no. Ooh, that was really close. That would have been a mistake. That would have been a big mistake. We do get the ability to deploy, say, like Nearl and Nearl the Radiant Knight together as of the Texas the Ormatosa event. That would have been really, really stupid. I was about to say we can do S1 Nearl Alter and have her sit behind her defender and kind of poke away at him. Not there. Not there. As always, I'm really hoping that this... I don't think this stage will be bad on Survivalist either. And Thorns also has the... I thought he had the sustain. I'll have to check into that in a sec, when he's not attacking. I don't know how much that counteracts the damage, but overall, I think we actually put Nearl as far back as possible. Yeah, but Survivalist first floor, I think, would be an endgame situation if you're doing an emergency op for some of the other monthly squads we have. So they will reach her. I do think we wait to deploy literally everyone else until Nearl's actually in danger. Yeah, some of the enemies, like, I would have to assume this puppet's probably just going to die before it even moves. Because it does in the normal stage. I don't think it does in the emergency op normally. But with Survivalist and the Flame Floor hitting it, it's probably okay. Yeah, I thought he had... Because the poison... I could have sworn Thorns had base sustain. Maybe it's from S3. And maybe I'm just insane. So many times recently on just so many games, Genshin's been one that I've seen this recently, I thought that a character had a certain ability, and then I've realized they don't. 5 SP too, that's really solid. Because part of the reason I actively don't like using Spot is because Spot has to stop attacking in order to heal other enemies, and then it feels like if you're at that point where you're really struggling with like a big, solid, beefy enemy, it kind of defeats the point. because then your only tank is sitting there trying to heal. And I feel like it just doesn't work well. We do have either Duck Lord or Bear Lord. I have no idea if we'll be able to kill him. What I could try to do, we have Bear Lord. That's actually not. I don't want to play everyone. We don't want to split Nearl's healing up too much. But if I can get Charge 2 skill on Carnelian here, we might be okay. This thing does not move very fast. Yeah, I am surprised. I knew that a lot of medical defender skills like Soraya S2 only takes a SP to activate. I did not realize that it was only 5 for Nearl and that it gave such a hefty heal. Like, I'm actually really impressed. But that's something from IS2 I never would have realized because I would have considered raising Nearl Defender, honestly, once the Texas the Omertosa event came out, not before. And even then, I would have told you, like, well, my opinion would have been that most likely the strongest option for running, like, running 2 versions of the same character would likely be someone like, maybe Chen and Skalter. Nice, we got a free collectible. But Chen and Skalter, like Scotty and Skalter. Maybe Gavio and Gavio the Invincible, because then Gavio could just heal Gavio the Invincible. But generally speaking, I would say, like, even the ones that have one form being really meta, usually both are not. Here we'll have to grab Cruz. We'll see. We'll grab a free medic. As always, I mean, I do so many IS2 runs where our only medic is... That could be fun if we grab Project Red. Is, Telopsis, sorry. But that's because I think she's good all-purpose. I do think for a player it runs, we're going to need more than just her. And let's be somewhat risky and go for another emergency op. I think as long as you're equipped to deal with one, which we are, the safest time to take emergency ops is early on. A lot of times I actually won't even take them later on, just so I don't just get dumpstered. We are definitely looking to promote Thorns, though. I think that Thorns' unit, he's doing an okay job. Like, he's outputting a decent amount of DPS. But generally speaking, if you're using Thorns, you probably want to have Destreza. That's the ability which makes Thorns good. Like, because I only borrow friends, Thorns, I've never even used this ability. It's kind of funny, though, because he has, like, a Thorn Mail type thorny ability in his S2. But I would have to imagine that might actually be the worst skill to use on him. I don't really see a situation where you want to do that with a guard. I would say I want to put Carnelian right here. But then if I put my Nearl right here, it'll hit both of them, and it's... we'll see. Not all the casters are AoE as well. But clumping units together is something that I tend to do a lot, and I'm finding out that that's part of what's punishing us so hard on the playwright. We'll go over this more if we actually reach the playwright today, but basically the first ability the playwright had, we were confused about the Frost Nova-esque effect as well, which I did figure that out, but the big nuke bit of damage that the playwright does is basically it hits every single unit you have on the field, and the 4 tiles around them, and every hit does max damage. So if we had, say, this kind of positioning, it hit Earthspirit, and the one that hits Earthspirit would hit these 2, and the one that hits Thorns would hit these 3. And it stacks up really high. So when we clump our units like this, like we were doing as well on the playwright stage, that was what was causing us to get just destroyed. And I didn't expect to have Duck Lord again. Hopefully we can get Carnelian's... Slow this down real quick. I would even be willing to give up a little bit of her DPS time on... No, it's not happening. Dang it. Oh, we still get it. I was gonna say, I really wanted the overcharge on that. We didn't even necessarily need to use it when we did, but 2 early kills on Duck Lord or Bear. Really, really solid stuff. Defender voucher, not what we were looking for. We'll upgrade Nearl. Having a solid front line is never a bad thing in this game. We're getting a whole lot of free collectibles. I still don't think we're going to go for an ending. I just don't usually do that on the monthly squad. But we are doing pretty good. I keep moving my phone, sorry. I don't know if it's causing my model to freak out a little bit, but I keep nudging my cord. This one shouldn't be too bad. We're going to want some more squad space. I think you definitely hit a point in IS2 where you want to actively start trying to upgrade operators, even bad operators, or just clear out spaces. I have no idea if we're going to be able to kill the Duck Lord here, though. Because I wouldn't say we have any super stellar DPS. I don't think Carnelian's going to get down in time to do anything other than a single charge. Luckily, because we haven't hit the Duck Lord this early, the Duck Lord doesn't start to move really fast until right about now. Or not. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna go. Yeah, we won't be able to get 2 charges. Dang. Wait, oh. Maybe if I hadn't been as greedy with Carnelian's skill. That's a tough one. I really just don't know the limits of almost any of these operators. Because the only one I actively will use in our base runs is Ansel. But, we'll still take a free voucher. We'll grab a Cardigan. We won't use her for now, but if we get extra space, doesn't hurt. Unequal split's not a bad stage for us to. Same one we just did. I think the only time unequal split tends to become a bit of an issue, even on emergency off, is when you get the AoE casters and you are clumped up like we do. And I still don't think that should be a huge problem. Well, no. I hate to deploy my defender early, just because the later you can deploy like your big boy tanky unit, the less likely your other units are to get targeted. That being said, the concern we talked about last time with putting the medic here and the defender here could actually come to light. I can never remember which ones spawn on this stage. Although we're getting the single target casters now, so we'll probably be okay. I mean, I think it's just kind of inevitable too that voucher luck can make or break a run in, well, any roguelike a similar system can, but in IS2 we've had runs where we got like 6 defender vouchers before the 3rd boss and we just reset too. Because if that happened, even with units like Horn being in the game, I just don't think we'd win. I don't really feel the need to use any of our skills here. Yeah, we pop this here. I was I like Carnelian's voice actor. Or voice actress, sorry. Can't quite pin down who it reminds me of, but it does remind me of someone and I can't think of who. I wonder if she voices other characters in the game as well. I know a lot of like gacha games will have VAs do multiple characters, which makes a lot of sense. Extra life points. With what we have, we'll go ahead and grab Telopsis. We have a good roster of solid operators, we just don't have any squad space or deployment limit. The Medal of Honor? That's not bad. That collectible is basically the benefit, or a good chunk of the benefit you get from, I think it's Research Squad in and of itself. Really helpful stuff. Let's just make our way straight to the shop, see what we can grab to. Grab the extra res. And I keep forgetting we do have this Royal Brooch here, so we have plus 20 res on our units. What's our 3rd floor boss? Mind the doors. That's actually kind of a problem. With our current setup, I don't think that'll be super great for us. But what I think I'm going to do is actually grab Rosa here. And, ooh, well, so the dilemma I'm at right now is I can grab both these. Oh no, I can only grab one even. So we can go for Rosa, specifically for Mind the Doors, or we can upgrade Thorns, who I think will be generally more helpful, especially for the rest of this floor. We only have to get through the 3rd and 4th floor like I was talking about. The Golem does only do 3 damage to if he gets through. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna swap out Carnelian for Cardigan. We have 3 possible block. This stage it feels like it's a DPS and block test to me. I'm hoping that E2 Thorns can just dumpster these two lanes with like Cruz, and they'll have the two defenders take these two. But we'll have to see. I also hate to have Cruz. Ooh, I hate to have Cruz start taking some of these hits away from him, because Destreza is offensive recovery. But part of the issue too is I know from experience Cardigan can't solo clear one of these lanes by herself. And I kind of doubt Earthspirit will be enough to make up the difference. We do have 16 life though. I can't imagine we'll be in too much danger. But part of the reason I've never liked using Thorns in some aspect is you have to get his first skill on Destreza to proc, wait for it to completely time out, and then have it charge up and pop again, and it's an offensive recovery skill. There are definitely collectibles in this mode that can help bypass that. Like there's ones that'll give you enough starting SP that he can just instantly pop at once. But it's still just not my favorite skill to use. I don't think we need to worry about dropping a medic right now either. We'll drop one in a sec if we feel we need it. That being said, on stages like this, it's not an issue. But it makes it so that I feel like you need to... Oh wow, he does a lot of damage. It feels to me though like you need to lead with Thorns if you're going to use S3 Thorns. And then you need to keep him alive because if he goes down, even if you can redeploy him later in the stage, you're in a really, really bad spot regardless. And I cannot tell how many of these guys are currently blocking, so I don't know if they're doing okay. Honestly though, maybe Thorns could have taken care of these 3 lanes alone. It was a little iffy, but now that he has full-on Destreza activated, it's not even close. In fact, a strategy to do might have been to put him like right here and have him face that way. I mean, he's even tearing through the high defense enemies. That's pretty wild. And here, I mean, we're at the lovely part of the stage that I run into with defenders, where we could be watching these guys hit them for a long time. It looks like we're okay, but... I've definitely had like an an E1 Soraya, like unpromoted, and like a Cardigan just sit there with a medic, and I've waited the entire like minute and a half to get a unit back. It's pretty funny, but... Seraph, lead dispatch. I'm going to grab Rosa. I don't think she'll be useful for literally any other stage except for the Golem, but I do think Rosa's insanely good for the Golem stage. Hey, free collectible, maybe. Which one is this? Demonic Cage. This stage shouldn't be too bad. What I'm actually going to do is swap for Telopsis. I think Nearl and Thorns here should be able to take care of most of it. I can't remember at what like SP generation rate though that they start to move. But we only need 38 to deploy both of them. I'm gonna hope that we don't need a medic as well. We probably needed him. Well, it looks like we're okay. This stage is always an interesting one to me. I don't think it's usually that difficult. Usually. But the issue is like you have to wait out enough DP to make sure that you don't just immediately die. But like this top Rhino moves really, really late, so there's a pretty decent chance we can just wait for Thorns to do all of it at range. Yeah, unless I have a really terrible setup for this one, this is one of my favorite encounters to see. Because I know it's pretty much a free collectible and voucher. The only downside to these encounter battles is you don't get hardly any battle XP. Yeah, we didn't even level up off that. Get some help there though. Upgrade Telopsis, get access to her module. I do wonder, I know it's for balancing purposes, but I genuinely do wonder how the game would play out if we had access to modules at E1 in IS2. I think it would make the mode so much more easier, and I think on roguelikes that's usually against the spirit of things. But I still can't help but wonder. And I did go with Rosa over Carnelian. I really do like, I think Carnelian is growing on me. But I still just can't say I'm a super big fan of the unit. I did get her recently, she's like E140 I think. I don't think she's bad. I just don't think that she's the unit that I would choose to be like my carry. And I keep trying to tell myself, I had to, a few weeks ago, completely reinstall my stuff because BlueStacks was, I don't know what it was, but there was some minor update to BlueStacks that was causing me to completely freak out on my computer. To the point where it like freeze my entire computer and I have to hard reboot, and it was really annoying. But for some reason last time I downloaded it to play it for stream for the first time, it auto put on some of the EN voices, and I think there's an option to download all of them. I probably just clicked something like that and didn't realize. But some of the EN voices I think are really, really good. It's just that for me, some of the other voices are just so iconic. Like the bass voices for Exia, for Cruz especially, are just so good that I can't bring myself to use anyone else. Yeah, we're looking pretty solid. It'd be nice to get another Sniper Roger here. I don't think it's necessary. I think S2 Rose is more than enough to deal with most of the Golem's HP, as long as we don't get the bottom right spawn. That's always rough. Oh nice, that's convenient. I didn't actually think the game would give it to me. But yeah, I can spawn here, I can spawn here, and this spawn's really, really great when you're running Rosa at least. This spawn's terrible. It's so bad. I probably could have swapped out maybe Cruz or Earthspirit for a slightly better unit, but... Sick, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and drop Thorns, let him start building up Destreza, hold this lane. And then I usually drop Rosa right here and have her just start chunking out the Golem. She also hit the big units that come through here. Usually works out pretty solidly. I was reading up on some guides, like I was saying, to try and figure out the mechanics behind the playwright that I just wasn't understanding. And there's some people with really informational stuff out there that really did help with that. But one thing I will say is they were saying like Rose is really good for the playwright for her ability to pierce defense. I just don't know where you would deploy her. Like when I was trying it, because we always have her because we use her for the Lucian fight, I never felt like there was a spot that I was like, yes, this is a perfect place to deploy Rosa. That's not good. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh, I always forget how long he stuns his enemies for. It's okay, we only leaked a little bit of life so far. The problem is he's stopping Thorns from charging up Destreza. I mean, we have enough life points so that we could tank literally every single enemy except for... I guess the Golem takes 3, but it shouldn't really be a problem. You can kind of see, like, it just makes me wonder how high some of these units... I'm sure there's stats out there for it, but just how high their defense is. Because Rosa, as a Besieger, straight up pierces defense, and she's still not doing that much. But we took a ton of damage here. I felt like we actually had a pretty good setup for this fight, and... Well, I said a ton, but it was only 3 so far. Okay, well, it was 4. That's not so bad. But a lot of times when I play this, like, I don't even, like, this fight in a regular IS2 and I don't even lose life. So, I don't know what it is about me not being able to, but me not being able to work around some of these things as well as maybe some other people can, but I feel like I lose life so much in the monthly squad compared to what is necessary. We'll go ahead and just do this upgrade here. Like I was saying the last run before we got dumpstered, I do just want to go for the 5th floor and get that last conversation so we can do some other stuff. I actively don't think fighting an emergency ops is a good idea. So what's this? I don't think fighting that's a good idea either. It's one emergency ops or a stage that we don't know and a stage that's rough. Oh boy. You know, I think we might be okay, actually. So here's the idea. I actually kind of wish instead of Carnelian upgrade I'd taken Skalter. But I think we have our melee units hold the melee lane. I sometimes like putting a Lord in the lower left. Don't think that's going to be an option here. Ideally, I would have taken like Skalter and then had Skalter and Nearl hold this. I don't think that's an option presented to me. But as long as I don't mess up and let Rosa take a bomb, I think she's okay. Maybe. I don't want to deploy Thorns immediately though because I don't know if he'll just die. We do have the, we can't forget, we do have the extra, the first firebomb won't just destroy whoever it hits. Okay, that's fine. Because we have the Royal Brooch, which negates the first bit of damage. It is also worth noting. It is also worth noting that we have. Sorry, I'm focusing up. A good amount of extra res on our units, so we might be able to just kind of fib our way through this. That did still hurt. Quite a lot, actually. I'm gonna toss Carnelian here. These two basically serve as the failsafe for whoever gets through Rosa. And yeah, it looks like these two have this handled. I think it's important, at least with the strategy I use with Rosa. I like having X here, someone really good for this type of stage early, but it's not always the case. I think it's important to make sure that either Talopsis' skill is up, or that she doesn't take multiple firebombs in a row. Because just one is usually okay. And that actually might have been the wrong time. I probably should have used it on this clump. But we do have Carnelian skill up, so I think we'll be okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, pretty well. And she's also hitting those melee units coming out here. But one of the downfalls to Talopsis versus, and why I still bring along Shining or like Warfarin or Gavio sometimes, is because just in those quick little situations, I've actually heard people really don't like Shining S2, but for consecutive follow-up damage, the shield I don't think is too bad. I'm sure it's not optimal, but I actually do really like Shining. It feels like Shining and Nightingale, though, were both basically designed to be the counterparts. I mean, they're both kind of like... Lore-wise, I'm not entirely clear, but I know they both travel with Nearl. And so one's like the defender from physical damage, the other's a defender from res-based damage. Just kind of an interesting little parallel there. I really doubt we're going to need heavy anti-air again, but... I'm going to grab Exia. Downtime wreck, I probably won't play it at all. We have a rogue trader, I think, in this path, but it's right at the end. This particular node, though, oh yeah, it's right there. This particular node, I think, is almost never worth it. Sometimes you get a good number of, you know, free stuff, but most of the time I just don't think that's the case. We'll just grab this. We have literally one more fight. If we die with 15 health before the last fight, I'm going to be really sad. This fight... Speaking of which, not a fan of this fight. Let's try this. Or, yeah, we'll go with this. This is one of the new stages, though, that I just don't know how it works. I have a very, very general idea. These guys are scary. But I just can't say I'm super familiar with it. Maybe I should have brought a second Nearl. I do like that these things actually hit enemies. It makes me feel like if I had, say, Gnosis, it would be absurdly good for this stage. Unfortunately, I don't have Gnosis, but I think Gnosis would work really well here. But the concept of, like, giving you these little structures, like, I know there's the ones that, like, rapidly heal or damage enemies once you set, like, it'll have a little lightning bolt next to them. I know those exist, and those are pretty neat too. But I don't know. Something about just something pure and simple like that that you don't even have to pay attention to I really like. I am going to basically just hope that Skalter can deal with this lane here. I think she'll be okay, especially since we have Rosa backing her up, and we have Thorns when nothing's in front of him. And Carnelian can catch this wave here. The big downside is if I use her S2, which I couldn't remember if anything big comes through here, she does go down. And she won't have module actually. Because her module, I have her X module fully upgraded, makes it so that you use S2 actually instead of S3. Because then she outputs a ton of damage when her skill's active. And then she goes down and it does just a ton of damage with the slow in her puppet form. Or the doll, I think it's called. And it's still not bad without module, but it's definitely like a noticeably lower percent. I was waiting for the shield, guys, but oh my goodness. I said we have Rosa, so we'll be fine. I see, like it's respectable damage on them, but like the X module fully upgrade is insane to me. Because I believe she does, yeah, she does 30%. I want to say it goes up to like 70 or 80% with module and module upgrade. And it just feels like, except for the very minor time where she's building up her S2 while she's up, she has an absurd amount of damage potential. And while I do think we could absolutely go bully Lucian, like I said, let's just get on to a couple player ed attempts. I have no idea if we'll even reach the player ed today. We got all 3 of the communication recorders and we can just back out now. I am really excited though. IS3 looks like it'll be a blast. I mean, IS1 to IS2 had very clear improvements. Really cool stuff. So you'd have to imagine that IS3 they've added even more. I know instead of being based on like this whole theater aspect that we have with like Phantom and such, it does move to, I'm pretty sure it's like the Seaborn. I think Skalter I've been told is one of the bosses. I know I've seen some stuff on it. I just haven't looked anything on it in a while. But like I was saying, I was looking at the wiki and there isn't anything on a monthly squad beyond these guys. So I'm pretty sure that means in a month or 2 we definitely do get that. Looks like we picked up another one. Okay. Have I unlocked? So we still need to clear Alpine Visitor, Sculptor, and Statue, and First Come Last served completely perfectly. But some of these effects are really cool. Like this one's potentially really cool. Like if you have Talopsis skill up, her second skill up, with how fast that heals a group of enemies, if that gives you that extra damage from each of the heals, because she heals 3 people at once and she's just overhealing them, that's really cool. The only problem is about this one is I don't know if, because you would assume a medic just won't even heal if a unit's full health. So I'd really have to look into like the semantics of how this works, because in theory if you could just have a medic spam healing, then they'd all turn into like an incantation medic like Hibiscus Altar, which I think would be really cool, but I don't know if that's actually how that works. Either way, let's hop into what are monthly contracts. Okay, those are all fine. They'll happen eventually. But let's hop into this. Yeah, we beat the 4th boss with support squad. I was really surprised. I was just kind of doing a throwaway run and it ended up going really well. I do still think that one of these 2 will be the next easiest to do it with. I've considered really heavily doing a passenger start run, because passenger S3 could be really good for stalling the player in the upper right corner, but I ultimately think this will be just the next easiest squad we have. Because we can do this start, we can start out with Cardigan and an upgraded Skalter. I will say I don't think that Skalter is super great, it feels like, for the play right ending. In fact, most of the time I actively don't use her in IS2 despite how strong of a unit she is. But we'll give her a try. I think she makes for a really good start, because it means that you can be extremely greedy with early vouchers. Because as long as Skalter is deployed after Cardigan, Cardigan will just continue to heal herself, and Skalter will just kill everything. That being said, this isn't the most ideal stage for it. There's no ranged on this stage, so we can just deploy Cardigan. But I have realized too, I think it's really good to get a first floor. I didn't see if we had one, but a first floor emergency op when you're going for the player at ending I think is really good. Because I don't even know if you can find that first encounter for the third ending on the first floor. And even if you can, I don't think you'd be equipped to deal with it, is what I've been realizing, because even on the second floor, sometimes we're not. So it feels like you're looking for the first encounter on the second or the third, and then consecutively the second one on the third or the fourth floor, all the while building power towards being able to defeat both Lucian and the playwright. Our key operators here are going to be, I mean, as far as things we want, I don't even know if we want DP regeneration, because like I was saying, I feel like Myrtle just gets one-shot so often, but I still think she's generally helpful. I think Soraya is very good for this stage. We need Neural Alter, we need Rosa for our Lucian clear. And I'm completely fine with using Neural Alter as my main DPS. Ultimately, we want as many guard vouchers as we can possibly get, and that's where the RNG is going to come in. Because I just don't have like a caster win con. And I don't think we'd be able to, like, we could maybe try plopping down a defender and having Skalter defeat the playwright, but I just don't think that would work. I am tempted to just grab Myrtle here, but I'm actually going to grab Fang, because we won't level up on the next fight, and that way we can potentially, if we get a guard voucher, for example, and I got Myrtle there, I'd be really sad. And that has happened multiple times. But here we go, we did get a first floor emergency op, which is nice. I'm not even going to try to protect that treasure chest. Not on an emergency op, we could probably do it, but I just usually don't take the risk. And what I'll actually probably do is do this, and then as soon as I have enough, I can never remember what these are called. Is it DP? I know SP for skill points, it's probably deployment points. We switch this out, drop Carnelian. These two should be able to take care of this stage by themselves. I think this thing will shoot her a couple times, but it's not going to do enough damage. I do like to hold her ammo. It's been a while since I've even played IS2. I haven't played IS2 since our last stream. And even when I was playing it like every day, because there was a time where I was just binge playing this game, I honestly did not know the numbers on all these stages, because it's different for emergency ops on all those stages to the regular one, as to whether or not you have Duck Lord or Bear Lord. But Skalter is able to absolutely decimate either one. What I'll actually do a lot of times in situations like this is I'll just have her reload now. That way if we do have one, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think we might. But if we do have one of them, she can hopefully reload in time. We don't. Okay, I'm done. I miscounted. But ultimately, Skalter, when she has S3 active, it's really just about timing her skill, I feel like. She'll just destroy everything when it's active, but there's that downtime between. And that's what I worry about throwing her in against, say, the playwright, is if she goes down, I don't know if I'll be able to get her skill back. Anyway, this isn't helpful because we're going to want every sniper voucher I think we can get. That's helpful. Couldn't remember which one that was. Life points I don't think are necessary. We'll take that. I could take another medic voucher. We did try Count Sit, and once we get to the player, I'll talk a little bit more about how I found out some of these skills work. I'm gonna pass on the rest of this. This might be nice, but can't say I think any of the rest of that is necessary. Solitaire is annoying, specifically because we don't have any operators right now that need promotions, so it's just gonna run us for an extra hope. But here's where we do start going for encounters and hope that we don't get messed over on RNG. I will take the extra res here. This is a decent start. But as always, I think if we don't get the first encounter by about, maybe not by the end of the third floor, but about the, maybe halfway through the fourth floor, I think it's got to be a mulligan. Just restart the run. Because if we don't get it early on enough, we just won't be able to get what we need to get the player at ending in time. We've tried, we've failed. I think it's easier just to restart a run. It's always disappointing when you get really good collectible RNG early on and that happens. But I just don't think it's feasible to do it most of the time. I probably could have protected this treasure chest if I'd tried harder too, but... yeah, skill up, she 3-shots those. And I'm actually going to hold off for him deploying Cardigan for just a little bit. Because ideally Skalter kills these things because once these are being blocked, they only take damage from the unit that's blocking them. We've seen that. I guess I'm explaining things that we've seen in the past, I guess, but it's been a while since I've streamed Arknights. What's nice is once Skalter goes to reload, we can just set up Cardigan here, have Telopsis and her skill keep her alive, and then Skalter will just sit there and reload. So she has the talent that makes it so that she has a 20% chance to not use ammo, and she just did that like twice in a row. It's pretty funny. Yep. Now we just sit here and wait for Skalter to reload, and then we pull Cardigan out. Very nice. I'll take it. This is a fine time to grab Myrtle. It still stinks to have solitary, but that's just inevitable sometimes. Nice. I will say I do actually think for this ending it is optimal to get the encounter on the third fight. I mean the third floor, sorry. But you can just, you never know when you'll get it. That's all in this stage, we're just gonna use these two. We'll drop Telopsis if we need. Actually, that should be fine positioning. I don't want her to go up here, because then she'll just get peppered by these archers, and I don't actually know if that'll kill her. But 34. See, we had 33 last time. But I can never tell. We'll just use her skill now, and then I think when the archers come through, we'll have her just reload immediately. I'm sure there's like a spreadsheet or something somewhere of someone who's recorded that. And that was even probably just a straight up premature reload. But with the timing we did last time, which is what I think around this wave, she wasn't going to be reloaded in time for the last wave. Yeah, I mean, as always, I think that the goal here is to get... Yeah, we do have it this time. I think that the goal is definitely for these runs to just get attack speed relics. If we could get Chalice in one of the other two, I think that would most likely be a guaranteed win. I mean, the reason we beat the player at our very first attempt ever was because we had attack speed relics. Our second clear was pretty much just sheer dumb luck, but I'm slowly starting to figure out a strategy. But it is nice that we should get an extra collectible here too. Could be what we're looking for. The Barrel Lord just one-shots everyone. But this is what makes the Skalter start really nice, is I think Rosa can honestly do the same function. But I think Skalter is the most reliable way to take down the Duck and the Bear early on. S3 Nearl Alter also does work, but when you're starting with free upgrade... Hey, speak of the devil. Not only did we get an attack speed relic, we got Nearl the Radiant Knight here. This is scaring me, because every time we have a run like this that looks super, super solid, we don't get the encounter. Sensitive, huh? Just don't give me this on the 6th floor. That's like a run killer. Hold on, let's scout ahead. So there's 2 encounters in the top row. Okay, that's for a different ending. You're scaring me, game. Beast fighting. That's... What I'm actually tempted to do... it's fine. I was tempted to do S2 Nearl, but I don't think that's necessary. A big part of the issue here is I don't think that Fang can actually take care of these two. And if she can't, it's a big problem, because then the Cannoneer just decimates everyone. Looks like she's okay though. Nice. Let's drop Nearl here. Over here. Actually, we'll let her use her skill once. Then we drop Fang to deal with this last sniper. As always, though, we do have that extra temporary life point here too, so we don't necessarily need to use it. Use Nearl to kill this sniper, but I usually do just for my sanity's sake. I'm gonna hold the shelter ammo. At 55, we definitely don't have Duck or Bearlord. I almost never get it on this stage. I will say it would have been nice to have Cardigan right here, I think. Oops. It would have been nice to have Nearl Alter here and Cardigan here, so that Nearl could activate skill and then just hit beyond it. I completely forgot about that soldier until just now. But I don't think it's necessary. But that's one of the things I think. It makes Nearl Alter S1 a little bit niche, because you also get that extra range, plus some side-to-side range on her when what else went through? Wait, what? But she gets some side-to-side range with her S3 active, but it's permanent. So you can kind of do like a spear and shield type aspect where Nearl Alter sits behind a defender and just chunks enemies out. I've had that work pretty well before.
Yay!
Leveled up. We have a ton of squad size, we don't actually have that much deployment limit. Double safe house. That's Nearl the Radiant Knighting upgrade. Nice. Forgot to check who we had. It's the puppet. That shouldn't actually be an issue with the squad that we have going for us. We do have to take the top path because we want that encounter. I don't think either of these will be difficult. Not with what we have. I'm actually going to be... We've had a run like this, I know, last stream, where we looked really, really solid going in, but we just didn't get the encounters we needed. But this run is so good that if we don't get our encounters, I still might just go ahead and try and get them on like the 4th and 5th floor. It can happen, it's just I feel pretty unlikely. Actually, what I like to do is put her here, because with skill active she hits this entire lane. We don't really need it. Actually, we have more deployment limit than I thought we did. But we don't actually need to deploy Cardigan yet, just because Nearl will drop her sword, and I actually think that's more useful than Cardigan is. Because the sword has a lot of HP, a lot of block, and then whatever's being blocked by it, Nearl does true damage too. Super, super great skill. But I was reading over Molinar's abilities, and I think part of what's crazy about him is I use Nearl the Radiant Knight and Blemishine all the time. With the way he works, with doing that extra damage when Camizier's operators are attacked, and then you have things like Nearl getting the extra hit. Super, super cool stuff. Because I think once Molinar comes out, I think Abyssal Hunters personally is probably the most fun niche to play when you're just using all the units from one space. But I think that when Molinar comes out, he actually might make Camizier's operators insane. Because you not only have the Nearl family with like Whislash, NTR Knight, you know, all of them. You also have to consider you have like DP Generation and Flametail, you have fast redeploying Gravel. There's so many options in Camizier's. And I think once he comes out, he'll just tie that entire niche together. It'll be pretty insane. Let's see if this encounter gives us the ending fight. Specialist. That's tough. I actually do think Lapland's kind of underrated in this mode. I don't know if she can silence the playwright. I haven't tried. If she can, that would be insane. But for now, I'm actually going to grab Project Red. I know she's not the most meta unit, but I actually think she makes certain stages really, really easy. And on the Lucian stage, which we will have to go through, I think she works really well for taking out the enemies that specifically target ranged units. That's not what we needed. I don't even like doing this one, to be honest. We have double rewards on the safe house. We don't need promotion vouchers here. We could take the promotion from Myrtle and Project Red which would be nice. We could also just get 2 squad size limit. We're not using it right now, but against the playwright, I do feel like having max squad size limit is nice. So we'll go ahead and be greedy for now. 1 would be a more immediate upgrade, but we'll be greedy. We have the puppet. With what we have here, I don't think the puppet will be an issue at all. Telopsis is insane for this stage, so is Soraya. The plan here is... Actually, I'm debating what I want to do. I think I'm going to do this, and I'm going to face Skalter upwards, so that she takes care of all the enemies that come up here. I actually do think this spawn on the... whatever this is called, the puppet, is a little bit easier to handle because of that. Because if we had Rosa as well, you can put Rosa right here, I think it is, and she'll hit right about this entire line. That might have been a bit overkill. And we can just keep dropping red. She's not promoted, she's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but it's a little bit. Chips away at the puppet. And the earlier you can kill this thing, the sooner you don't have to worry about everyone just taking damage. But I'm really glad, even if it's not Chalice, the fact that we got the +5 attack speed relic means that we don't even need to worry about visiting shops anymore for the most part. I think it is still generally worth it, even with attack speed relics, to go for shops. But it's still nice to save those. Just get a bunch of attack speed. Because ultimately that's been the issue, I think, with our player runs, is when we have to let him go all the way around and we can't just kill him in the upper right corner, he decimates us. His ability just explodes all of us. I didn't know until recently how that worked. As far as the whole, like, for example, again, here, it would hit... He hits every single unit and then the tiles across from him. So, like, Nearl would get hit by the one that hit Lava and Cardigan and herself. And that's why we are having so many units just get one shot, because in that lane there on that stage, we are setting everyone next to each other. I didn't know that. But even so, I think right now, as far as units we're looking for, we are looking for Rosa, we're looking for Soraya, and maybe another guard win con, maybe Surtur. I will say the extra module on, where is it, here, on Nearl is really nice. It gives her the extra defense ignore. Actually, I think you can see it here. Yeah, ignore 33% defense. It's nice, because she does do true damage when specifically her third skill is up and she's attacking enemies that are being blocked by the sword, but it increases her DPS every other bit of the time. Alright, what have we got? Let's see what our collectible is first, actually. I'm really glad we saw what the collectible is first. That's gonna save us hope. What options do we have? Let's grab Soraya. I actually have been a big fan of using promoted Irene as well, actually. Because then she lifts up that playwright during her third skill. And she's really good at holding the lane. But I do think Soraya is a bit of a higher priority. Soraya is just such a good all-around unit. She's one of the only defenders I do consistently use. It's not what we're looking for, but let's grab this. We'll lose a bit of attack speed off our chivalric commandments here. But the base... Oh, wow. We had to go pretty far for this one. Really? We didn't get it at 80% chance. I think I've gotten it at 20% chance once. I usually get it at 40 or 60. And I'm really glad I grabbed Soraya. I'll be honest though, this might... As good of a run as this is, we might have to restart, just because I don't think... we're kind of nearing the point, because I don't think you can get both of the fourth ending encounters on the last floor. I do believe it has to be like one on the fourth, one on the fifth. At least I've never seen that happen before. But I also didn't think that you could get the first big side lock encounter on like the fourth floor, and we've seen that happen before. So who really knows? Get Skalter out. When Skalter skills up to the slow actually directly translates to these guys doing less damage, which is nice as well. But this is another reason why arguably gravel would probably be better for this than Project Red. But just having a unit that you can just straight up drop on the heads of these units and actually do a little bit of damage and stall them is pretty nice. And then I actually don't want to deploy my other units here, I think, for the near future, because I do know from experience Skalter will have to reload before the end of this stage. And so when she's reloading, I like just dumping units on the stage to make sure that she has enough space to reload. But you can see they do visibly less damage when they're in the slowing from Skalter's stuff. She's just such an insane unit. I think probably the reason that she's not considered as high, like she was still considered, what was that? On that CN tier list I was talking about. I'd have to pull it up again. But I do know, again, top 5 were, what was it, in order, Molinar, Surtur, then I believe it was Skalter, Nearl the Radiant Knight, Texas the Ormatosa. I think part of the reason Skalter's a little bit lower on that is all of the rest of them have survivability, you know? Oh, that straight up just one-shot Soraya. I didn't expect that. That was the kind of vulnerable period I was talking about, though. That was a little sketchy. We didn't end up losing any lives, but I thought we actually were going to. Sorry, I was losing my train of thought there as we were about to get overrun. But I do know that, like, almost all of them have some kind of survivability in that Molinar is just insane, and he also has 0 block within his skills when his skill's not up as a liberator, kind of like Tequila, which is actually, it does lend itself to him staying alive. Surtur, I mean, she stays alive for like, what is it, 7 seconds after she goes down. Skalter doesn't have any innate sustain compared to those two. And you consider like Nearl the Radiant Knight has so much versatility. And then Texas the Ormatosa, I believe from what I've seen, she has incredible damage reduction until she's killed an enemy. I know she can straight up solo boss stage, which is pretty insane. Alright, but let's see, we have an encounter here. We're gonna go bot path, get double encounters. If we don't get the 4th ending there, though, I do think we're pretty doomed. Which is really disappointing because this is a really solid run. I don't like this stage. We might lose some lives here. Ideally, I would have had a Rosa by this point, but we just don't. Because this guy hurts. A lot. The problem right now is I do think we pretty much have to drop Skalter there so that she can hit the units that pop out here. But as a result, we're going to start eating fireballs here. Actually drop Soraya here, I think. Doesn't matter which way she's facing. What I'm likely going to do is as this guy gets closer, I'm going to drop Nearl the Radiant Knight and I would just deal with that. The consequence of doing that, though, is these guys are going to eat fireballs down here. But yeah, this is one stage that I just feel like I can never quite get an absolute perfect strategy for. So much of the time I feel like I lose some lives on this stage. But I think Soraya can just hold this bottom stage. But this is a solid run though. Like, Draft of a Speech is a really good collectible even if we got it kind of late. Just the ability to save yourself from hope. We have the hope trinket, so we're getting hope every single time we enter a non-combat node. Like, it's just solid. We're not going to protect that, but... But where I usually lose lives on this stage is actually... those floating enemies do come through. And one of them just cuts straight down. I don't think it's this one, though. But it's just a weird stage. I feel like this stage is actually really good for Lord units. Because there's only 3 spots to put ranged units on this stage. Which is actively to, I think, our detriment. In fact, I think this guy's gonna get through. Because none of our ranged hit him. Which is unfortunate, but it's okay. Oh, I meant to have... Oops. I meant to have Soraya tank there. That's fine. I definitely could have just timed skills and stuff a little bit later. I don't know if that original enemy was flying through and Lava's skill was up. That probably would have saved us the life as well. That's a Soraya promotion. Please give me the encounter game. That's not the encounter, but that's a free collectible. We're basically hinging though. If this encounter right now isn't the 4th ending, 1st encounter, we're just going to restart. Because at this point I have everything unlocked as far as getting squads 2 endings goes, except for that. It would be really disappointing, but not exactly surprising. I actually ran into this issue a lot more. I mean, we've run it into this issue a lot with the 4th ending. I had this issue with Big Sad Lock on Spearhead Squad so many times. So many times. Because I think you should almost always try and disable Big Sad Lock's regeneration. I think just trying to fight that boss without disabling. I've done it before, but I think it does require attack speed artifacts. If you don't have those, I just don't think it's a feasible idea. But because of that, Spirit Squad, you start with 1 life, and the 2nd encounter requires you to lose 3 life. So much of the time, I just haven't had that available to me, and I've just gotten devastated and had to restart. I think I legitimately, the first time I got all 3 encounters for a Big Sad Lock, on Spearhead Squad, I won. Like, I just demolished Big Sad Lock. But it actually probably took me like 10 or 15 runs to even get that encounter luck. It was pretty sad. But ideally what we would see here is a sniper voucher, and then the encounter we need. If the game is being kind to us. And I gotta say, I'm really excited for the anime as well. I think they're making a 2nd season for the Frost Nova arc. I'm not super tied into the lore of this game. There's part 1 of what we were looking for. I'm not super tied into the lore, but I do like going back and reading through it when I have time. That is unfortunate. I mean, we could go Bully Lucian. We are really, really powerful. Oh, dang. And that's extra deployment limit. Yeah, it's literally not possible. That's really disappointing. I'm gonna go ahead and just restart then. We could just go absolutely annihilate Lucian with the team comp that we had, but we are ultimately looking to beat 4th ending with these 2. I think these 2 squads will be the easiest ones to do it with, like I was saying. The problem is, when I take this one, it basically equates to me starting with a friend's passenger, and then getting an upgraded Project Red and Skalter, and then I don't get much value out of this. Whereas this lets me start with, it lets me start with Skalter, have an immediately upgraded Rosa, have an immediately upgraded Exia if we go that far, immediately upgraded Medic and everything. I do just think that that's the best way to go. It does make for a very boring start, and we've seen the RNG can really change things, because we beat it with Support Squad first try. But we actually had pretty good voucher luck, we had pretty good collectible luck that last run, we just didn't have the encounter luck we needed. Survivalist is annoying. But we'll give it another couple tries. I'm planning to play some games with some friends tonight, so I probably won't just sit here and try over and over like we have in the past. But I've also only been streaming like once a weekend, and I'd like to at least start streaming both days again. So maybe we'll give some more IS2 a try tomorrow, because we do have a lot of squads to do it with. Some of the squads I'm really dreading doing it with is Spirit Squad. I don't actually think is that bad. Just the flat bonus that you get from that squad is nice. You just have to be careful at the start, because you only have 1 life point. Research Squad, I actually do think I really liked Research Squad when I first started out. I don't actually think it's necessary. Just because most of the time, I mean, you saw having the extra, or maybe it's not Research Squad, it's the one that gives you 2 extra deployment limit and squad limit. Because you saw even that last run, we had almost max squad limit, we had high deployment limit. A lot of times that does just kind of happen. Research Squad's the extra command XP. I don't think that's necessary either, because when you're doing the 3rd and 4th ending, most of the time you fight enough fights that that's just the case anyways. You hit max level. So some of those squads I think will be an issue. Sure, they can make you stronger in the early to mid game, but having immediately promoted snipers also, you know, works really well. Ultimately, though, for what I have, and Guard Knights just being the strongest niche as far as classes goes, the immediately promoted guards and vanguards was always going to be the easiest one to do. I'm actually curious if we gave it another try, if we'd be able to beat the player at first try with it. That's nice. Okay. Immediate Rosa. And let's go for the emergency ops. It's a little bit greedy. As would this be? Yeah. Why not? I think part of doing well in IS2 late game is being greedy early game. So we'll give it a try. I was honestly hoping for a medic voucher there, but we'll see. And you know, we should try to protect this. The annoying thing about this stage on emergency op is the units that spawn down here, and the ones that just randomly fall through the ground, are actually ranged. They're melee in the normal encounter. But literally as long as they can't kill Cardigan, we win. And this is where, again, I think Cardigan shines. Early survivalist, Cardigan does very, very well, and I don't actually think Spot does that well. Because his skill provides very, very long sustained healing. But it has a much higher SP cost. Hers only costs 20. That being said, though, I think she's about to go. Let's just drop Shelter. Stop, 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 stop. Oh, that was too close. I will say I don't think first floor survivalist is as bad as getting it on like the third or fourth floor. Like I'm pretty sure I've had it. Oh, oops! I could have saved her then. I actually think I've had it on third floor with the puppet, and it was miserable. It was so rough. I don't know if you can get it on the ending floors, because I can only imagine how miserable it would be to have a survivalist on the Lucian fight or anything else like that. But here it's not a huge issue. We just throw units at them. And as I said, it wasn't a huge issue. I think we just died. No, wait, we're okay. That was a little bit close, though. Oh, that would have been really awkward. Let's try not to speak things into existence now. Alright, that's nice. That's less helpful. Ooh. Okay, this could be a really spicy run, actually. Having half price in all future shops is actually really nice. Trying to decide what we want. That we can't use. We obviously want this. Without lower life is actually extra temporary life would be nice. And I'm just going to take a free Myrtle here. Well, not free, but a Myrtle without needing another Vanguard voucher. We got Survivalist again. Oh. I really don't want to die on the second floor. Because then you don't even get the free, like the 2 hope start that we've been getting, which lets us get a second 6-star operator immediately. But I think if one of these is the encounter for the 4th ending, we'll die if we do Survivalist on it. And this emergency op might kill us, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. And we'll see how things work out. Oh, that's really unlucky. Survivalist on 1 floor, either the first or the second, I don't think is a huge issue. Having it 2 floors in a row is really unlucky. Luckily, these mages do just die. I don't think that the big boy does. So do this. Because these 2 can basically just self-sustain. And in fact, because this isn't the stealth version, what I might do is once these mages die, just drop Skalter and have her chunk that thing out. Oh, Myrtle's gonna die, what? I thought she'd be okay because she lived long enough to get her skill last time, but evidently that was incorrect. I think we should be okay. I'm pretty sure that's the only enemy that comes through this center lane. I just hate to play a bunch of IS2 on my off time because I actually wanted to see if we could get every single squad to the player on stream. Which, if I'm being honest and gesturing on weekends plus like Genshin streams every now and then, I don't think will happen before IS3 comes out. But it was a nice thought. I really need a medic voucher here. If we don't get one, we're in trouble. Because we're going into an emergency op on the second floor without any more healing. Oh boy. That is unfortunate. Unequal split, that's not the worst one. Part of the issue with unequal split emergency op is that when you have survivalist, I feel like you want a very long stage because that gives enemies more times to die just from survivalist debuff. But yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. I actually think we might die here. It was greedy to take the emergency op, but it's okay. I took it fully knowing that we might die. Because you can see, these enemies on an ordinary survivalist floor, if this wasn't an emergency op, would die before they hit there, but because they have the extra HP, they don't. So, and we only have 2 melee units. Oh, ow. Uh-oh. I really don't want to deploy Skalter this early. Because, oh. I should have slowed down the fight for that. That might cost us the oops. That might cost us the run. That is really awkward. Because I think we had time to actually use... Uh-oh. I do think we actually had time to use Cardigan's Skalter and keep her alive. We just didn't because we waited too long. She'll be up in 30 seconds again. I think we're just gonna have to sacrifice Skalter and just have her clear things out for a while. I could have waited an extra second or two there, but it's okay. Oh my goodness, that thing. You know, scratch dying because this was an emergency op. I think we might just die because of my poor play. That's the second life that probably could have been avoided. Granted, we do have 2 temporary life points, which is nice. The Skalter, if Crown Slayer decides they want to come out, Skalter will just instantly kill Crown Slayer. Assuming she doesn't die. Uh-oh. Okay, I think we're good. That was a lot sketchier than it needed to be, though. I did not play that correctly. Please give me... I really need a medic. I'm curious always to see what the next performance would be. Oh, we just leave it, right? Let's grab Lapland here. I'm getting really nervous. Because we know we need at least a couple... oh, dang. See, like, if we'd had enough to get Nearl Altar there, we would have instantly had E2 Nearl Altar, which would have been huge. But because we didn't have enough, we instead have an upgraded Lapland, which isn't bad. We were talking about maybe testing if she could silence the playwright. We will have 3 encounters here. I'm going to be greedy here and do this. But not having a medic this late in is really scary. Because we know we need, at least for like what we typically use, we need Nearl Altar, and we'll need 2 guard vouchers for that, or a promotion voucher. We need, sorry, lost my train of thought there for a sec. So we need 2 guard vouchers plus 9 hope. We need Soraya, which is another 6 hope and a defender voucher. And we honestly probably need Project Red. Project Red You wouldn't think, but Project Red makes our life so much easier. Just the ability to have like a... We could use Gravel for the same purpose as well, I guess, but I do prefer Project Red because she actually does damage. Gravel you use as a fast redeploy operator generally to keep your... I'm actually going to hold off on that because of this guy. But you use Gravel generally just to tank hits. I know there's a strategy for low rarity clear for the Tallulah stage where they use Gravel to tank multiple fireballs over and over. But I think for IS2, Project Red feels a little bit better. If I had Phantom, I think Phantom would also work really well. But I don't. And then I was actually thinking about rolling on this current banner because it can give you Silver Ash. But I don't really see the point in doing so when Molinar's coming out and I'm thinking about rolling on him. Because I think every operator still has their niche. I mean, Rosa was, I think, on that CN power list I was talking about, was I think she was actually the lowest, and then it was Siege. But I think Rosa really shines on certain IS2 stages. Alright, guard or medic would be ideal. I'll take it. It's not the encounter. We'll take a free collectible though. 6 life points, not bad. This stage shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, what made the guard instant upgrade so nice was though we could take like... Oh, okay. That's an interesting layout for this stage. But we could have instantly taken like an instant upgrade in our altar, then we could have grabbed Thorns, Lapland. There would have just been so many more options available to us. Oh, that's not good. We're probably going to have to sacrifice our own Cardigan. Because Lapland's attacking the wrong thing. I actually wanted to attack the this pillar here. Sorry, Cardigan. We kind of threw you under the bus there, if I'm being honest. But I think if we dropped Myrtle there, we would have leaked lives too, which would also not have been good. I don't want to deploy Skalter until these guys move, because I don't want Skalter to just die. Yeah, see, now we don't have it when we need her. Crud. We also didn't use... Oh my goodness. Took 4 damage there. But we also didn't use Myrtle's skill to deploy DP, generate DP earlier, because we needed the block because we killed Cardigan. Lots of misplays, just right back to back there. That did not work in our favor. Oh well, we lived. Then we have the 2 temporary life points, so that's actually only 1 net life loss, which is fine. Oh, we didn't level up there too. If you give me a guard voucher now, I'm going to be a really sad game. Okay. I would have loved to have gotten... Ah, it's fine. I raised Perfumer as well. Let's try using her. I've heard she's pretty solid. I've also heard Susuro is pretty decent. Come on, game. I need the encounters. That's really rough. We got this one too. This one shouldn't be an issue with who we have though. Yeah, 4-star operators are really easy to promote to E2. It's just difficult to find ones that are as high value as, say, Myrtle or Perfumer. I actually don't mind this spawn. I don't think either spawn for this is usually too bad. For this, that's not what I wanted to play. For this particular boss fight. Yeah, we were never going to be able to kill that guy in time, though. This.
リンゴちゃん、今日もよろしくね。ターゲット
This.
ロックオン。敵を死認した。
This. We're gonna hold deploying Cardigan because this guy's gonna come through and decimate both of these two. And there really isn't gonna be a whole lot we can do about it. Because he enrages once his friend's here is dead. I do think the ranged one is a little bit more dangerous though, to be honest. Oh, and we had the silence on the slugs. I completely forgot about that, actually. Another reason Lapland's really nice. I do think Lapland has been power crept pretty hard in this game. I do still think she's pretty underrated. Like, I'm never super sad. Like, I obviously would have liked to have had Nearl the Radiant Knight instead there. I'm never terribly upset to get her there. And actually, it might have been overkill to even deploy. Oops. Okay, well, we just lost 3 lives because I wasn't paying attention. I was literally saying in my head, well, I need to use Rose's skill here so that we don't leak that guy, and then we didn't use her. That is incredibly awkward. It's fine. Overall, again, 1 net life lost. It is a really stupid misplay on my part, but in the long scheme of things, it's not a huge issue. We do need to... I was about to say we need to hope that we get a really key operator here, and we didn't. That's actually a really hard decision. I'd actually go for this, I think. Extra damage is always nice, but... yeah, okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and restart again here. It always stinks. We've seen this in multiple IS2 streams though, but we haven't even... well, we saw it actually once in the monthly squad, but we're just not seeing the encounter to get the 4th ending, which is rough. And I can't think of any particular condition you can do to make that happen, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We're going to keep just throwing ourselves at the wall though, doing the exact same start, and hoping that we get the encounter on a good RNG run, and then hoping we can actually beat the playwright. But that's what makes IS2, I think, really frustrating for some of the endings, especially Big Sad Lock and the 3rd ending. I mean the 4th ending, sorry. I don't think the 3rd ending's as bad. Is sometimes you just don't get the RNG you need, and you just straight up don't get the encounters. That's just part of games with RNG in them. I'm honestly not even going to try to protect the treasure chest here. I think if I deploy lava right here, she actually attacks this top tile first. So I'm just not even going to worry about the treasure chest. You can really min-max IS2 for some of these treasure chests, but a lot of times I feel like it just overextends you for no reason. Better to be safe and not lose lives, I think. I don't want to end the stream though before we get to at least see the 4th boss once. But I feel like this has been a pretty common trend. It takes like 3 or 4 runs before we even see the encounter. Which is strange because we see like Big Sad Lock. We've only seen Mantle of the Wrong to Condemned once actually, I think too, but... And you know what? I actually usually don't like to get Soraya early. We'll go ahead and grab her. It'll make the... yeah, see, like, we've seen this encounter so many times. It's nice to get 1 free hope. But, eh. And like I was saying, I actually do think it would be bad to fight the, the fourth ending first encounter on the first floor. I'm pretty sure we'd actually just get rolled or lose a ton of lives. From what I could see of it, it's nice to have at least... You need lane holding for at least 2 lanes, along with DPS for those lanes. And ultimately, that's not something that you usually have on the first floor. Like, Skalter on that encounter can clear out one floor entirely by herself, or one side. But then we'd have, like, Soraya and Lava trying to hold the other. Because we'd need a blocker for her, so we'd probably use Cardigan. So here, ideally, we'd get, like, a guard or something before we run into that encounter. Was 33 the number that we had on this specific emergency encounter that we had? The bear? Because I know we fought the bear on this stage once today. We'll prep for it. Alternatively, I could just, you know, remember. But it's been a long week. Yeah, that's nice. We could have done this with Cardigan as well, though. Skalter plus a defender. Yeah, we didn't have it. I could have just left her skill up. Oops. But Skalter plus a defender can absolutely just clear this stage by themselves, even on emergency op. I mean, she's an insane unit. She just doesn't have any block herself, and she's squishy. So you can't have the heat being on her. That's not very helpful for our particular win conditions, and neither is a caster voucher. If we're being honest, but... Oop. So that's not helpful, that's not helpful. That's actually pretty helpful as long as Skalter doesn't die. So is that. So we have really buffed up snipers right now, but they have 40% HP. We can kind of counteract that though if we get one of the collectibles that gives us extra HP back. I'm gonna go bottom path. We're gonna go encounter hunting from this point on as always. We need to find the encounter, otherwise we can't even do the fourth ending. And this is the third run that we haven't gotten what we needed. I will say, I really wish, and I think it again kind of also defeats the point in it being a roguelike a little bit, so I understand why they wouldn't do this. But if there's some way to like say I'm going for the third ending or I'm going for the fourth ending, and at the very least you then didn't see the encounters. Because as nice it is to sometimes get that first big sad lock encounter and get a free hope, or Mantle of the Wrong can get condemned and get a little bit of extra life, I think most of the time you would rather just straight up not see those encounters. But I don't know how they'd implement it. It'd have to be like a button, you know, at the start of the run saying this is the ending I'd like to go for. And sometimes you don't think you're going for a specific ending and you get what you need and you can just decimate that ending so you go for it. Like it just... I don't think there'd be a good way to implement it. Is this the version that's stealthed? I can never remember. We'll be able to... No, it's not. Okay. That makes life a whole lot easier. Do we have... Oh, I think we have Duck or Bearlord. It's fine. Skalter has enough ammo to kill one of them by herself. That's not good pathing on it, though. It's going to run up and down here a bunch where it'll only be hit by lava. I don't think it matters, but I don't know. And we have the extra 30% arts damage, which is kind of nice. We could also do arts amplification if we use Soraya's S3. Oh yeah, it didn't matter. But I just don't have a super great arts damage win con. Nearl the Radiant Knight's true damage, Calcid's true damage. I mean, we could use... It does, I guess, technically work with Surtur. Allies within the radius. Well, if we had a medic operator, that'd be really good. I've been thinking about raising Potenko, actually, as well. Speaking of. We didn't even have the hope there to get Suzerain, but... That's also a thought. That's just a bit of a kick in the teeth. I was about to say, do we even have an operator to upgrade? Because that only works, I think, on 4- and 5-star operators. I don't believe that works on... Well, clearly it doesn't work on Soraya. Because if we upgraded Soraya, would have been nice. Deployment limit's not bad. Flowers of Kinda is an okay collectible. I'm just going to greed and go for the hope. Early to mid, I think the hope's... It's the greedy option, but I think it feels really good. Okay, that's fine. Beast fighting, this is not a good stage for us right now. Because I don't think that the reserve caster operators, even with 30% arts amp, can actually kill these guys. Eh boy. We're definitely losing lives here. Ugh, that's unfortunate. Because the problem is, ooh, yeah, that's not good. Oh wait, okay, you know what, that's not as bad as I thought it was. I was gonna say, Soraya and Skalter can absolutely just hold the entirety of what comes through here, I think, normally. But if the caster, reserve casters can't kill those guys, which they can, we would have been in a really tough spot. We might leak 1 or 2 more lives here, just because of deployment and SP, but... Alright, sorry, redeployment time and SP, but we were not equipped to do this stage by any means, so I'm not gonna be too sad if we don't do too well. Could do worse. We could have died. In fact, if we don't leak any more enemies, we only lost 1 life. That temporary life point, I can't explain how much it saved me in the long run on IS2 runs. It does mess with a couple collectibles, because I believe there's a collectible that, if you have exactly 1 life point, gives you like a ton of attack speed on all units, like 50 attack speed. But the problem with that one is it doesn't proc when you have the temporary life points, because it shows up in every battle. Even if you have 1 life, then every single fight you show up with 2 or more. And what causes an issue there is then you either have to try and intentionally leak a life to get that attack speed, or it's just one of those, it's completely useless until that happens. And most of the time in IS2, if you're leaking a life, you're probably about to die anyways. Like, sometimes you'll get chipped down, but most of the time I feel like that's the case. That hurts a little bit because I would have loved to have half-price shops. And I'm going to try and just get a few extra units, because we know we're going into the Mind the Doors encounter, and we need to find the... Oh, finally. I'm going to be honest, this is not the run that I am happy to see that, simply because we have 3 units that we want, everything else has been pretty rough, and we really don't have good collectibles. We have very amped up snipers, but they're also so much squishier, and we don't have a medic. Like, this is gonna be rough. Oh no, yeah, we're not even gonna be able to play Skalter in time. The play might be actually to drop a red. Alright, Skalter, you gotta do some work here. She does some decent work. There are definitely ranged enemies though, and she's not in range of Soraya healing, which is another concern. With the skill up, she'll hit right here, so hopefully she can catch the archers on her side before they do anything. Yeah, we've seen this theme so many times and it makes me really sad. The runs that we were looking real solid, like the one we had all the operators we wanted, we had an attack speed relic, a lot of hope, we had draft of a speech, I think it was. We were looking solid. We didn't get it. Oh crap. We should have, oh. Are we gonna die on this stage? I have actually not died on this stage yet. No. Okay, this isn't looking so hot. I really hope we're gonna be okay. The game finally gave the stage to us, and we're not even really equipped to do it. We do this so that it stays on the frontal tile in front of Skalter. Oh my goodness, we almost died. That was rough. That contrast makes me really sad. Alright, please give me some good voucher luck game. I need something. That's not good voucher luck. That's not helpful either. This is unfortunate. I don't know though, do we want to go safe house emergency safe house combat or encounter emergency ops? I'm gonna be honest, I kind of feel like restarting this run too. We just finally got the encounter. But this run is just honestly pretty absurdly weak. Like, we have really buffed up snipers and one sniper. So, like, but this is the example I was talking about. I think we had this exact scenario where we kept getting defender vouchers on a run that we actually got the encounter on, and then the runs that we had a really good voucher luck, we just didn't. I really hate to do that, but I have that gut feeling I'm not a good enough player, in all honesty, to take that kind of RNG and run with it. Because we would have probably been able to get to... I mean, it would have taken godlike RNG for the rest of that run. That feels really, really bad, but that was just... ugh. That was a rough run. Because we've lost lives on that stage too before. I'd never lost that, like, 2/3 of my life on it. But I just don't see how we could have finished that. I think we actually might have died to the golem. Because all we had going for us there was we would have had one more fight, which would have given us one more voucher. And we were basically running in with all 3 units, Soraya, Skalter, and an unupgraded Project Red. It was maybe doable, but it would have been rough. I would say though, I really like that they added another starting stage to this, to IS2, and I really like the design of this one. Because the puppet doesn't actually usually live long enough to come off that town. If it does, it has almost no health. Because ordinarily, if you just had a full health one of these coming at you on the very first stage, it almost guaranteed be a leak. But, I don't know. It's one of those stages, like the stage where all the flying enemies just drop through the holes in the ground and die immediately. It's kind of a silly little way for them to inflate like the enemy count, which could be a bit scary the first few times you see the stage. And just kind of, I don't know, show you what enemies will show up. And then... being a little greedy with Skalter ammo. I mean, RNG for her with this talent... wait. Yeah, the one, the 20% chance not to consume ammo. I've had the RNG proc a ton, and she actually shoots out just an absurd amount of shots, but... I think the only thing that's really difficult about playing Skalter in any way is setup, and then just making sure that you minimize the downtime when she's not going to have ammo. But I've wondered too, because I think there are potential 5 upgrades that talent as well. I wonder what the percentage it raises it to. Because if it's like a 40% chance for her not to consume her ammo, she could fire a lot. And her S3 is really broken. Okay, early medic isn't bad. I keep getting tempted to try a Count Sit run, but it went so poorly last time we tried it. It didn't feel like her S3 did any damage to the playwright. And then we just got dumpstered, and it was really sad. Alright, Duck Lord's play. This shouldn't be an issue as long as we can employ Skalter. That's basically how the early game with this start will always go. We could try messing around with some other squads, but having done support squad and guard squad, which I think were the easiest two, I think this is the next easiest. A passenger start would be good, but ultimately I think the issue is a passenger start. Like I was talking about, the immediate promote casters and specialists could be really interesting, but I don't have, like my only max level, like, invested caster is Dusk. And Dusk just isn't really gonna work. Dusk is really good for stalling enemies, but with the way the player art works, I don't think Dusk would be good on that stage. That being said though, the game could make it up to me right here by giving me Chalice. I have no idea what the RNG is for each collectible. I don't know if it's like evenly weighted. You would assume the really, really good collectibles are weighted a little bit less heavy to show up. But a Chalice run would be... Even if we didn't get the encounters, I'd just go beat up Lucian. You know what, that's not bad. And then medic vouchers. So I've raised a few, so... she's E2 20. I wanted to try her out. I think the Incantation medic branch is really cool. In theory. Whispering could also be really good. I could go for a... Wandering medic. I think despite how much nervous impairment there is in IS2, I don't actually think a Wandering medic is that necessary. I'm gonna... Because it's early in the run, I'm gonna be greedy with my hope. I do think a more invested medic would have been nice, but we have insta-promoted medics with this squad. In addition to snipers, I don't think it's necessary. What I'm actually concerned about right now is that we only have one unit that can block. I think we'll be okay. As long as... If she dies, we're in trouble, but... We'll see. What I can actually do is... Ordinarily, I just don't put units in the range of this, but with double medic, we can actually afford to. Do like that. I also have to say, Chen's voice actor also does a really good job. In the anime as well, I thought she was really, really good. Like, the sound design as well in Arknights is just, in general, really good. I know I saw someone talk about it, but the scene in the anime where Nearl arrives for the first time, they made the sound design in a way where, like, you just feel that she's, like, the strongest knight of Kamizier. She's there, everything's alright now. Like, I also saw some pretty funny jokes about how, like, she tanks, like, 3 shots from Faust in that scene. While Mephisto's just kind of standing there screaming at her. And in-game, Nearl gets shot by Faust. It hurts a lot. Just funny things like that. But oh my goodness, why did we get another medic voucher? What am I supposed to do with this game? At this point, if I had Through Hope, I'd just take Count Sit and say, okay, we'll go with that. But let's grab Perfumer. I like Whispering, I just think her S2 takes too long to charge up. Oh. So the problem is there's 3 things I want here. Because I actively will not use if I could avoid getting any caster vouchers for the rest of the run, I would. And this makes it more likely that we get our guard vouchers. But an immediate 6 hope and 6-star operas requiring 2 less hope I think is too good to pass up on. We'll still be reliant on... Ooh, Bewilders is nice too. Bewildered floors are actually really, really good. If I could get Bewildered every floor, it would make our runs take forever. But I would prefer to do that. We're going to take... Okay. So we're going to want to maximize encounters. So if we take this path here, we'll take 3 encounters. Top path, I believe, gives us 2. I'd love to do the emergency out, but it's not really feasible. And bottom path will give us 3. Let's go bottom path. I'm not doing... No. Taking that... If you aren't doing the speaker ending is actually, I think, one of the worst ideas you can possibly do in IS2. It would backfire so fast. Yeah, we've gotten an inordinate number of medic vouchers. I don't know what's going on. We do have Solitary this floor, which is interesting because we also got it on Bewildered. And so it stinks that it costs extra to recruit operators. But it costing less to promote operators might not be a bad thing. If we got, say, 2 guard vouchers, it evens out. And then I really do want to figure out some more strategies, honestly, for IS2.
ターゲット
Because I feel like I'm very susceptible just using the exact same ones over and over. But I use the exact same strategies because they tend to work for me. If I'm being honest. And this stage there's not too many enemies. We just want to make sure that Skalter has at least like 3 ammo so that she can just destroy. What direction I point these guys up? We need to make sure she has like 3 ammo so that she can insta-kill Crown Slayer.
早く
Because we only have 1 unit that can block, and Crown Slayer will just jump Cardigan if she gets to her. Which is annoying, but that's how that boss works. I actually thought it was interesting how they made Lucian do that as well. We can actually just pop this now, I think. And if we get like Soraya, nobody's gonna die. It's just our only damage really is Skalter. Ugh, what a weird couple of runs. I'm just sad so far that out of 3 attempts, the one time we got the encounter we wanted, we gotten like 5 defender vouchers. And there's just nothing we could do. Like, I am pretty sure that run we would have just died to Golem. Because literally, if Skalter went down, we just lost. Specialist? Yeah, I'll grab Project Red. I'm fine with giving up a little bit of hope to recruit units on a solitary floor, just because we have secret HR letter, sorry. It's gonna make the hope restrictions we have a lot more lax.
成功
Alright, the grand finale. And honestly, if we get the...
私が留守の間は
Oh,
くれぐれも身の安全にお
that's
気
a
を
bit
つけくだ
unfortunate,
さい
actually. But honestly, if we get the encounter on next floor, too, I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna be concerned if we don't see it on the 3rd floor then, but... I don't know. I just love getting bewildered. Not, I guess, real life, but bewildered floors in IS2 is like the best thing ever. Because it basically just guarantees that you have extra encounters and extra combat to work with. If you like were speedrunning or something, it'd be probably pretty bad. But for what we're doing, it's pretty nice. In all honesty, maybe instead of Project Red, it might have been good to get Skalter there. That was almost me not paying attention. Because I really do like Skalter, but she's a unit that, with module, she feels insane, her X module. But without promotion, she doesn't feel that good to me. You could argue that about any operator, but like even Skalter unupgraded, her S2 still performs okay, you know? We maybe should have had Skalter reload a little bit earlier. Because I don't know if she'll have enough ammo to deal with the unblockable enemies. I think we're okay. She does one-shot them, yeah. Yeah, we're fine. I was a little concerned for a sec, but not an issue. I will say I was planning on trying to get at least 2 medics for this ending, but the fact that we immediately got 3 is still really funny to me.
Yay! 完全勝利
Nice. Okay, that's huge. We grab Nearl the Radiant Knight right now. And we got the encounter. This could be a good run. This could be a really good run. We're gonna need actual DPS collectibles. But this is looking pretty solid. And I will say, even though we had the lowest version, 10 starting DP, extra starting DP is really underrated. Even once you get a DP generator like Myrtle, I think it's pretty underrated. Now, you know what, I'm actually going to do this. That's not usually, I usually just hold right here, but I think it might make it easier, actually, later on. I will do this. Well, what's nice is we're decently prepared for this stage, I'd feel. Not like insanely good, but we have a medic for each side, a ranged DPS for each side, and then If we need extra block topside too, we can just have red hop up there. I think we'll need less healing on this side. I'm gonna hold off on using Shelter skill. I don't think it's necessary. Unless this thing really starts to hurt, but... Actually, this guy does hurt a lot. I immediately changed my mind when I remembered how much those little fist fighters do. But like, look at this contrast too. When you consider that the last run, we were doing this fight on the 3rd floor, and we still were struggling. This run, we're doing it on the 2nd, and granted it is a bewildered floor, and we're doing great. Like, there's basically no threat here. They actually have Red try and assassinate these guys. She's not gonna kill them, but she'll do a little bit of damage. Never hurts to have her just chip enemies down. But that's where I think Texas the Omertosa will be insane, is she could do this, and even probably unpromoted just kill them. From what I've seen of her skills upcoming, she's gonna be pretty insane. It's a big boy. Shame this guy had to run into a Skalter, huh? Oh, wait. Maybe I didn't do as much damage as I thought, but you have to consider that was with Perfumer's skill up. Perfumer gets less attack speed, yeah, but she just heals an absurd amount while that skill's up. Because most multi-target medics where they really falter is their actual individual healing isn't that great. But with that skill up, even if she loses attack speed, it's a 4-star medic, so she requires almost no investment. And she just starts destroying things. What would be really nice here is a Garter Specialist voucher, because we are in a solitary floor, though. And that way we get a little bit of that hope back. Nice! Actually, we got it. So, see, now we spent an extra hope than we would have to recruit Nearl the Radiant Knight, but we spent one less to upgrade her. Like, we are looking real solid. Another promotion voucher, that's got to go towards red. And that one only works on a 5-star or lower operator anyway, so that worked out really well. Because if we'd gotten Specialists, that would have gone to waste. DPS collectible, please. That's okay. That is now my primary concern. Because once you've gotten the first encounter, you usually get the second one. So now my concern is making sure that we get the units we need. Mind the doors, okay. Making sure we get the units we need and damage collectibles. That's 15% attack to most of our win cons. It's not nothing. We also need squad space and deployment space, but that can come later. And we do get a little bit as we level up, so it's not like it won't happen. The operators we want right now, Soraya, Myrtle, Rosa. I would say that's the top priority. Hello, W. The sound of Nearl's S3-2 is so satisfying. It just sounds powerful. Like... I maybe shouldn't have done that right then, actually. I'm gonna give a healer just to her, because if Skalter goes down, it's gonna be harder to kill W. Yeah, I do think that W is really easy to choose on this stage, just because, again, with my personal strategy, I don't know if other people hold them here or whatnot, but if I just drop a melee unit on her when she's right here, it pushes her into range of anything that's here. I still don't know if that was intended. If it is, I think that's actually really cool, because it gives you a bit of a workaround for something that might be annoying, but... Oh, she did one-shot red, though. Very nice. Not too bad. The nice thing is, too, now we have basically 3 floors. 2.5, I guess, at this point. to find the other encounter for the 4th ending. Like, we can basically just try and take as many combat notes as we can and collect what we can. Squad Spice is nice. Stop. These are... Oh. Unironically, I would have rather seen literally any other vouchers except these two. Dang it. I'm just gonna take the free orchid. Hope isn't really a concern right now, but... Actually, you know what? I take that back. Let's try Suzerain. I raised her specifically, and you know what? Before we even go any further, I'm gonna give her some more levels. I wasn't sure if I was going to use her. I'm way far from getting her module because I don't have trust with her, but... And I do like this new system for leveling up. I think it's actually pretty clean. That should be okay for now. But I've heard she's actually pretty high up. Again, I keep referencing that tier list I was looking at. She's actually pretty high up on that. She provides a lot of utility. This one, okay, this is... I actually kind of like that. We have 3 units that can block, but Skalter can do an entire lane by herself. So, early DP might be an issue, but we'll see. Yeah, I can actually just place her here and she'll deal with these 2 rows by herself. It's actually kind of gross, but I don't know. It makes me wonder though with how many new altars we are getting. I gotta say, I really do hope we get like a Shining altar and a like a Lapland altar, Siege altar. Because Siege is my first favorite character is Texas, then it's Siege, then it's Nearl. And then I do like a lot of other operatives though. But those would be like the number 1, 2, and 3 for me. We're gonna have to watch Cardigan's lane here, actually, now that I'm looking at it. I didn't think about that. Nearl can help out when her skill's up, but what I might actually do is do this. She's not gonna help most of the time, but she'll help if any enemy gets past. Sorry, but, like, Siege Altar, I don't know if that'll happen, because we've already gone through the Victoria arc. That was part of the main story. And I feel like most time if you're gonna get, you know, a big altar for one of the 6-star units, especially, or even like the more prominent 5-star units like Texas, it's gonna take an event. And I can't imagine what they could possibly do now for Siege. That would really work for that. Yeah, Suzerain's doing a respectable amount of damage. She's not even E2. We gave her levels that don't actually do anything right now, to be honest, but it's okay. And it's around the end of this wave that I usually pop Skalter skill. But you can see, like, everything except the big shield guards, she can literally just take care of by herself. No problem at all. I just love too that she gets a little angry mark when she uses her skill. I just always feel bad for Skalter. She's one of those units, I mean Chen, sorry. She's one of those units just seems like she just has so much responsibility that she doesn't get to relax. And it's even like referencing like the way Hoshiguma talks about her. It feels like Hoshiguma is one of her only close friends. And Hoshiguma just basically teases her about like, there's a really cute scene in the anime. She's like, wow, I really like, she was talking to Amiya. And Hoshiguma's like, that's Rhodes Island's leader for you. I can see why old Chen's saying your praises. And Chen just gets really like embarrassed. Cute stuff. Anyway. I want one more combat ops. I don't really want the downtime rec space, but yeah, it's fine. We'll just do this. Gain 3 hope. I don't actually think that's necessary. I'm actually tempted to just stockpile life, because, yeah, why not? There's not a whole lot of life, but I'm genuinely curious to see if that'll work. We're obviously not going to be, like, tanking the final boss. I think that would be a little bit too much to ask, but I'm curious to see what we can do here. Alright, which spawn do we get for the Golem 2? Because we don't have Rosa, so I actually think it matters less. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to do this. So I think the goal here is actually to drop Nearl's sword right as the Golem comes through. And the reasoning behind that is then the Golem will stun the sword and not Nearl. Which is why I just prefer to use Rosa for this stage. I just think that that is generally what's going to work the best, but The issue is too, I don't actually know at what point he's in range. It's in range. No, no, no. Okay, that worked pretty well. Okay, well clearly that was when it was in range. I'm actually willing to do like this. I'm so sorry, Suzerain, to throw you under the bus. I mean, this is working better than the Rosa strat, but I feel like this is kind of situational. Like, this strategy, I don't even know if it would have been possible if we hadn't had the extra 10 starting DP. So, I'll take it, though. Yeah, 21 life points going to the 4th floor, like... I mean, the boss itself takes 30 life points. If we could stockpile, like, 60 life points, that would be a hilarious way to win. Don't know quite how we'd manage to do that, but... that is theoretically a way we could win, because the bosses all... the final bosses all take 30 life points. Very nice though, this has gone well. With a little bit of voucher luck, we're looking solid. And if the game did give me like a free temper recruitment like Ifrit too, we wouldn't even need Rosa. But that does happen, especially with 6-star operators, very, very rarely. It's special when it happens. I like to look at the collectible first, actually. End of Times, with the amount of life we have, is just not going to be useful. Let's take Eventide Terror. Alright, what have we got? So Scotty could be interesting. If we use Scotty, I'd actually go give her a bunch of levels right now, too. I do like the idea behind getting a free insta-promoted. I actually wish this had been Thorns or... Sorry, I'm just thinking. We still don't have DP generation. I just don't... I'm gonna try this. I don't know how helpful that'll be. I don't use base Scotty a whole lot, as you can probably tell. I have all these units marked because they're the units that I have immediately on my priority list to level up. To be fair though, if I really wanted to, in the middle of this while we're doing this, I could... oh, never mind. I'd have to... we would have to take a very long detour. Ow, sorry. Something caught in my throat. But out of curiosity, right? What if I did this? Do I have enough LMD to do this? Alright. It's all for the sake of the run. I mean, do we really want to... increases attack to 115% when attacking blocked. I'm gonna actually just hold there. That took up so much of my resources. I actually recently E2'd Suzerain, which is why I have no LMD. It's gonna be really sad if we still lose. I'm gonna skip this safe house. We're gonna get one encounter no matter what. Ooh, give me Blade Dance, please. Sick. So it looks like we're gonna have to get the 4th encounter, 2nd ending on the last floor. That's fine. Or we could go for this. I really want to do emergency encounters here, but... actually, maybe I should have grabbed... that may have been a mistake, actually. I grabbed that because it makes Project Red hilarious. But, we also could have grabbed this, which would have been insane. We could have grabbed this and one of these two. Oh, and deployment limit. That may have been a bit of an impulsive mistake. It's fine. But we have to go here. I just never feel secure in not going for the encounters until I have all my ending encounters. Because if somehow we had a run like this that was going super well and we got the 1st encounter and then we didn't get the 2nd, I'd be really sad. And I'd say it hasn't happened before, but it absolutely has. Do we need Sniper voucher? Another Defender voucher? Just once again ticking all the thoughts of what we need. Give a healer to her. I know people really, really like Scotty, though. She's one of the units whose story, though, just makes me really sad. There's a lot of that in Arknights, though, to be fair. Got Perfumer. Trying to decide where I want Soraya, actually, and Suzerain. Because I can never remember how much range there actually is in this stage. But this is where I'm... See, I could have gotten Rosa and an extra deployment limit, and I could have put another unit down. It's not going to be necessary for this stage, I'm just thinking. Instead of having Hand of Super Speed on red. But you can see what Hand of Super Speed does. Oh wait, does that... Is that not the one I picked up? Oh, this is going to be really awkward if I didn't even pick up Hand of Super Speed. Oh, do these count as allied units? That might be the case too. Hand of Super Speed gives... And it works for Skalter, so it's Ambusher, Dollkeeper, and Executor units. Just an absurd amount of attack, kind of like that. And so with Red's guarantee that she does at least 46% of her attack, and she has 91 attack right now, she just chips away at enemies real fast. It's super funny. It's like my favorite thing to see. I don't even think it's arguably like the most optimal way to play, but I love doing it because it's really funny. But yeah, these apparently count as allied units. That is interesting. And the sword actually probably does as well. Yeah, it's important to know though. Specialist, you know what? Sure. Don't know if we'll get to use her, but sure. At this point, I'm actually going to take Flowers of Kinda. I don't think Hope's an issue. This is not the best stage for us. Did we go to that encounter? We did go to the encounter. I already forgot. So the problem here is we're going to be really reliant on Shelter. And we didn't even put Skalter in because we can't really use her here. But yeah, we need another sniper voucher really badly. I've tried and I've failed to do what's its stage without using Rosa to do with the puppets. I've only ever able to successfully also do it with Rosa. Sorry, with Passenger, and I don't own Passenger as a friend's Passenger, so you know, take that as you will. We do this. We just let it go hand. I am also, like, there's still a few things we need. We need deployment limit, a little bit more squad limit. Rosa, probably Myrtle still, to be honest. Like, there's still enough that I'm a little bit concerned about us missing that I wouldn't say this is a guarantee. But this run is looking pretty solid. Get him, Red. Mess him up. Just seeing her attack like that is the funniest thing to me. But yeah, we could also use promotions on a few operators. Suzerain, Soraya, like, there's... It's hard to feel to me like you ever get like a super perfect run. You just gotta make do with what you got in roguelikes. As Skalter just casually almost kills Telopsis. But these boxes are another thing silences are good for. What makes Lapland super, super nice. I've been thinking about raising Jay actually, because Jay also is a pretty solid silence and faster replay. He kind of fills the niche of Lapland and Red, which would be nice. But I don't have any LMD right now. And I'm trying to get ready to upgrade Dorothy if I can get her. There we go. Alright, we need to go encounter hunting. That's actually huge. That's really good for Soraya. Oh, that scared me for a little bit. I thought it froze again. Alright, so it looks like no matter which path we do, we get 2 encounters. I mean, if the game... I'm just gonna trust the game. I'm gonna trust the game to not make me sad. Which is never a good thing to do, because it's a roguelike mode, but I am just gonna trust that one of those 2 encounters is the other op we need for the ending. Alright, I'm thinking, who do we want to deploy first? Let's get Skalter down. I'm interested to see how Scotty helps. People use Scotty as a boss killer all the time, actually. I don't. But I've heard that she works really, really well for the purpose. Let me just let Red go ham on these guys. I usually stick Rosa right here and have her get rid of these as well, but that's not an option available to us right now. So just have Red chunk as many of them as we can, over and over and over. That's what she's good for, and she has Hand of Super Speed, so she's able to do so pretty well. Seeing her attack that fast makes me laugh. You can do this with any operator once you have attack speed relics, but Hand of Super Speed basically lets you do that with executors, with nothing else. And we, you know, I already forgot. Skalter can do it now too. She's just not fast to redeploy. Do this, actually. Yeah, Suzerain's S3 I think is where she's supposed to really shine. I've actually put a specialization level into it as well. So I'll have to see. We're basically just, again, at that point where we're working with what the game gives to us. And sometimes the game likes to give you the middle finger. I can't help it too. Her weapon reminds me of the Whirligig Saw from Bloodborne. Honestly, one of my favorite weapons to use in that game too. The number of enemies just run off the edge here. I just... it never fails to get me. Just seeing so many enemies just yeet themselves off the side of the map. By the way, how much does her skill take? Can't remember. It's 90, okay. Because she just straight up, her guard Scotty's, I mean, base skill, and I think this is the one that people usually use, is literally just double her attack, defense, and max HP. It's pretty insane, but I don't know. When you consider it to like overloaded, well, nah, I'd say overloaded is probably the correct word. Units such as like Surtur S3 or like Thorn's Destreza, like it does feel a little bit less flashy to me, admittedly, but I think maybe because I used... oh, we might be okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if we'd kill the Duck Lord there because we used Nearl's skill at a bad time, but that's also a free collectible. And I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't even know we'd have Duck Lord. You did great, Suzerain. Thank you. Hey, we still got that one! Extra 70% attack speed. That'll affect Rosa and Skalter. I say Rosa if the game... yeah! Okay. Okay, that's a huge weight off my shoulders because I was worried we weren't going to get her. Every time I take this, it just messes me over. I'm just going to do this. Nice! That's the deployment limit we wanted. And then that's the encounter we needed. Sick. Okay. I can never remember... it's this one. This one is actually kind of dangerous. We might lose some lives here. Not a huge deal. Alright. Alright. Calm down. Calm down, Gollum. Stop that. Yeah, we just got some really solid upgrades right there. Rosa plus an extra 70 attack speed on all snipers. We are granted using 2 snipers that probably see it the least. Given the nature of, you know, spread shooters and besiegers, but I am happy to see that nonetheless. At this point too, I think our squad's solid enough. We really do just need our promotions. If we can get the promotions on our last couple operators, I would feel pretty solid. It's actually... I guess we still don't have Myrtle, but that's the literally the only other operator I could think that would be nice to have here. Is this guy ever gonna... Yeah, I was gonna say, is that guy ever gonna move? Alright. Yeah, the stages. The thing is too, like, when you consider, I think you can get the stage on like the 3rd or 4th floor, depending on RNG. This is probably the only ending that I don't mind saving the encounter till late. Because most of the time I'm like freaking out because I don't know if I'm even gonna get my encounters. But for this stage, the later you get this is a hard stage if you're taking it early on. Like, I'm more than happy to do this on the 5th floor. Yeah. And these golems are scary. Like, if you don't have healers... To be fair, anything's a little bit more scary in this game if you don't have healers, I guess, but... Still. And we still have 21 life points, like, that's pretty insane. There we go. That could be good. I don't remember we're going to a shop, though. I'm actually gonna... Ooh, so it's one of these two, I think. We'll try Sir. We've tried Irene in the past. We still have a little bit of squad space we're missing out on, but the only one we don't have in right now that we would use is Surtur. An emergency ops or rogue trader. I would love an emergency ops, but rogue trader you have a little bit more freedom to choose what you want. It's this one, huh? This stage I don't recall being super difficult, but let's hop into it. I just haven't played that much. Like, I've basically only played IS2 on stream since the last update came out for it, so I just don't really know, to be honest, a lot of these new stages. This is a stage that also seems like it's really nice to have an executor for, if we're being honest. Because I've never even seen these guys move, but I assume that at some point they just move and go into this objective here, because nothing else comes through here. Do something like this. This guy hurts a lot. When those guys get to half health, they enrage and they just start decimating units. It's actually horrifying. Alright. I'm a little worried for what... Because on the 6th floor, sometimes you get an emergency op, and it's that one with all the drones, and that one is actually really painful. I guess... I talk about not having caster options. One caster option I do have, though, that's nice for that stage is Golden Girl. Which is about the only other one that I think I use. But I'd really like to see, if we don't get a promotion on Suzerain, I don't actually know if we'll keep using her. The slow isn't bad, but I just can't say I think it'll be as meaningful as, like, say, if we got a Surtur promotion. Granted, we are also not using Scotty, but we're saving Scotty for a specific purpose. She's kind of our backup damage, and so it's Surtur for the play, right?
ドクターの期待は裏切ってないわね
What do we got? We were going to the shop, actually, so we're saved that. That's a promotion for Skalter. Nice. We'll be able to see how much more damage. I mean, you can see, so she was doing 30% attack damage in her puppet form. With this right now, she does 80. So she's gonna hurt. Now let's go to the shop. That squat size, I'll take it. That's not terrible for Suzerain, but well. So if we get, that's tough. Extra attack, extra. Okay, I don't have units to summon. Alright. I'm actually gonna try this just because if we can upgrade Suzerain, her third skill is actually really helpful. She stops attacking, her attack range gets pretty big, and then she slows everyone and gives them, I believe, fragile debuff. And she also heals ally units. That could be really, really solid, especially if it's up more often with that. This does nothing for us. I can't think of another defender I want. That was a pretty solid chop, I'll take it. Gain 3 hope. We don't really need the hope, but free hope is nice. And now it's time to bully Lucian, because I don't actually think there's anything Lucian can do to stop us. Poor Lucian. I gotta say though, us not having DP generation this late in the game is still a little bit concerning. We just... I don't even think we ever got a Vanguard voucher. And our lack of like fully DPS centric collectibles is also not great, but... Oh wait. Oops. I forgot that that's where one of the units went through. So I'm gonna do this. And hope that Suzerain can actually take care of those boxes. If she attacks him. Suzerain? That's awkward. Okay, that's fine. Part of the benefit in our current state is we have life points to spare. Actually, slow that down. Something else went through. Oh, everything's falling apart. Yeah, Rosa with the extra attack speed should absolutely be able to take care of all these things. Yeah, I do want to raise Ifrit or get Passenger, because I think that would do really well for that. We could also deploy... What? Oh, crud. I am actually misplaying here a little bit. I need to slow this down. So I actually don't have an anti-air specialist, which is definitely to our detriment against these boxes. I don't like to drop my healer too early on in this stage too, to be honest. Her skill takes a concerning long time to activate as well. I don't want to use Nearl Alter skill right now because we really need it for... Uh-oh. We really need it for Lucian. And we haven't been using... Oh gosh, we were playing this really poorly actually. We've only lost 3 lives, but we are not playing this correctly at all. Do this right now. As soon as Lucian hops through, we drop the sword. Very nice. Should be okay. That hurt though. That did hurt quite a lot. You let one of the puppets through, I doubt it's an issue. Maybe? 4 lives. I mean, 4 lives isn't a whole lot in the long scheme of things, but there's actually significantly more than I've lost on this stage in a long time. Yeah, definitely not a clean Lucian fight though. There's a lot of things I made a mistake here. We definitely want to see a guard voucher, supporter voucher, I think right now though. So we'll see if the game does us a solid. Or honestly, getting Myrtle at this point would still be helpful. Oh. And that's why nervous impairment is dangerous. Poor Suzerain just took out that last box and just died. It's not what we were looking for. Ugh. That would have been helpful a long time ago. This is okay. We really don't have another specialist we use. Let's grab Golden Glow and see if we get another caster voucher. Because she's just another operator. I won't use her, I don't think, if we don't get the upgrade. But the game could throw it up in the air. Defender Supporter, that's Suzerain upgrade. That is actually really fun. That's another attack speed operator for casters, but I'm just going to take this upgrade here. That's nice if we had Myrtle. Got a regular combat ops, okay. If we got a okay, never mind. Never mind. I was about to say, if we got a promotion voucher there, that'd be really clutch. I'm actually torn. Do we need another squad size limit? Because we're ideally going to get, in the ideal scenario, we get either a guard voucher for this upgrade or caster upgrade for this one off our next fight. Hope is a completely moot point at this point. But if we were to get like another, I'm trying to remember too. Do we get a? I think we get a. Do we get a squad space off hitting level 10? I'm gonna be greedy and just hope for the best. We did get the exact stage that I was talking about that I didn't want to see though. We might lose some life here. That is unfortunate. Luckily we have enough healing that I don't think it's a danger. But this is not the stage I wanted to see. So I do think we're almost definitely going to leak some of the big drones here, which is fine. It is annoying, but in the long scheme of things, I don't think it's like a huge issue. Actually, just gonna drop red to help with that. Just use that on cooldown. If we had Golden Glow upgrade as well, that would be less of a problem too. Like, there's a lot of factors for why these big drones are probably going to go through. Ow. I wish there was a way to, like, because I can't see these guys' health bar, and that actually is concerning me. That was a really bad time to drop Skalter. I was gonna drop her and never deal with that. That was not the timing, though. You can see, though, she does a hefty amount of damage when she's in Dog Creeper form. And she has 0 blocks, so non-ranged units won't actually target her when she's in there. But I think at the very least these two big drones will go through, so we'll go into the next stage with like 21 life. Like, I think this should be a successful run, but I've seen runs that feel even more promising that we lost. So, I'm not going to hold my breath. Who just died? Oh. Oh. Oops. She's facing the wrong way. There's one life down. Yeah, those big drones. I think the only thing that go through this exit are the big drones. Wait. Okay, nice. Nice. I didn't realize she would be at the edge of Shelter's range right there. I should have, I just didn't. And now it's time to just start dropping units like there's no tomorrow. I'm kind of thinking that maybe just if we can find a spot Like, I just outright don't think we have the DPS to kill the playwright on the first pass. But I think we might be able to. But I'm really hoping for an actual upgrade here. We do get an extra operator space, so it's good we didn't take squad space. And we got golden goal upgrade, that's fine. I actually would have preferred Surtur upgrade, if we're being honest, but that's okay. So, the things I learned about this stage. So the player has 2 big attacks that you need to keep in mind. Firstly, he will drop a big attack, we talked about this earlier, on every single unit that you have on the field, and it'll hit their tile and the 4 adjacent tiles. So if you have units stacked up like we were doing here, we need to stagger them, because then multiple hits. So if you have all 4 units here, everyone is getting hit by like 3 of the attacks. Immediately after that, he will usually drop a curse, and if that unit, it'll take max HP from that unit, like per second, and if that unit dies or is retreated during that, that's what creates the Frost Nova-like effect where you can't use that tile anymore. So, what you're supposed to do apparently is immediately after it does the big burst, drop your Executor or fast redeploy unit, and it should go in the most recently deployed unit. As far as the pathing, it goes through here, back up through here. We have 21 lives to work with, plus the extra point. I really do think this should be doable. We're going to play on 1x speed, even though it makes the stage really, really slow, and we're going to hope that we can do this. We have 2 really solid healers. We've done this before with just Telopsis and... what's her name? Telopsis and... oh, Ansel. Ansel's the guy. As our units, but we'll have to see how this goes. I'm also really tempted to... So the problem is, there is a point too where you need to stagger units a little bit. It's not really avoidable. Or not stagger them. These guys do explode on death too, which hurts a lot. But here with this staggering, they should each only get hit by 1. Alright, there's the playwright. Oh. Did he launch the curse first? Oh no, that's just the attack. Right, so here should be the big burst, right? No? I'm waiting for the big burst to use this stuff because I really don't want it. Ah. Did he just do that? I'm so confused. Alright, let's just have red stall them a little bit. I'm fine with leaking some lives here. Alright, we needed to deploy these guys probably a little bit earlier, actually. Yeah, I should have deployed them earlier. They don't have their skill up. That's a problem. Ooh, that could have been a throw. If we can kill the player on this first pass, we definitely just win, I think. Although the player does get real mad. Never mind. I think we just won, actually. I know it's a little bit early to speak that, but... we didn't even use Suzerain. Yeah, look at that. She gets a big area. All enemies in the area take more damage. That might not have been the play when these guys all, like, die and then explode. This went strangely well. Here I was trying to strategize all these crazy new strategies that we'd be able to do for the playwright attempt. And we did finally get a good run. It did take us a few attempts, but if the playwright's dead, most of the threat on the stage is gone. Like, almost all of it just disappears. But look at that slow too from Suzerain where her skill's active. They can't even move. And it takes half SP because of the collectible ad, but we didn't even use Rosa, we didn't use Golden Glow we got recently. Like, this is kind of insane. I could not have predicted that this would go this well. Surtur did go down, but like I was saying, that timer, when she dies, quote unquote dies for the first time, she just stays alive. She just literally refuses to die. And here's... I mean, the slow between Dullkeeper form on Skalter and then Suzerain. I will say, I don't think I've ever done... We've only beaten this. This will be the 3rd time. Done it perfectly, but... I will take a clear. Like, obviously things could have been better. We could have had an upgraded Surtur. But for what we used Surtur for, actually, I will say, it was fine that she had S2 instead of S3. But like we could have obviously gotten slightly better voucher luck. That's always the case, I think, though. We could have had more, like we didn't even have an attack speed relic, and defeating the playwright really wasn't an issue. Can she drop the sword on that tile? She cannot. That's what I thought. But this effect reminds me, it's a different color, but of the Frost Nova effect. That's what makes her stage so hard, is she'll just instantly just pile on a ton of damage to all the units around her. And then she'll make tiles unusable, which in a game like this, which is basically like a tower defense game, that's kind of detrimental. But like, wow, I mean, I'll take it. I really didn't expect the slow from these two to that thing isn't even moving. I'm just blown away. I did not think that we were going to have a run to the playwright that went this well. Yeah, let's, I mean, take a look. I mean, to be fair, you also have to consider looking at the operatives we had. We did get decent. Like, we didn't use Lava and Hibiscus. We got a lot of early medic vouchers, which was strange. But we got what we needed. It still took an hour. But, I mean, what overall we had? I mean, part of being this particular squad played up really clutch because we only got a couple. I'm actually tempted to use Skalter now more towards the playwright because she did more damage than I thought she would. She also had plus 70 attack speed. But like we would have been rolling in with I think 2 overall sniper vouchers. So we wouldn't have even had Skalter if we were doing a different squad. We probably would have gone for Rosa and a different start. I mean, that was pretty crazy. Collectibles. I don't know how much this actually came into play. I also have no idea who Blade Dance went on to. That's probably important to know. I have no idea what the difference is. Hand of Super Speed didn't come into play in the last fight, but it was nice. Because even if we didn't have attack speed relics, we had this for Skalter and Project Red. We had the sniper one for Rosa and Skalter, and then the... I thought we had another one. We had a good amount of hope gain. We got this early. Like, Secret HR letter early was insane. That was crazy good. We had a lot of life. Every time we were losing life, we were stunning all the enemies. And we did have decent buffs, like melee attack buffs and stuff. It was a solid run. These and these. We didn't even have one of the I almost never use the gadgets. They're not bad, but they just... I usually don't worry about them. 999. I gotta say though, doing the playwright on the hardest difficulty has to be a nightmare. It's gotta be rough. Like that, we got a bunch more stuff. It's nice to get free things from this too. Like this is what we needed for Scotty's module. I don't know if I'll get her module. It's not bad, but I leveled her and Suzerain up immediately in the middle of that run because I wanted that run to be successful. And then both of them were honestly kind of non-factors. But the debuff from supporters, I think, is one of the primary things that a lot of supporters are used for. Just because, yeah, I mean, 1.8 times on the second talent, and the second talent is enemies that are slowed, that are in ranged, whether by her or I think by anyone else, get 20% fragile bonus. 1.8, I don't know, 1.8, that'd be 180%. I'm too tired to do that kind of... It's probably around just shy of 30% fragile. So to just take extra damage. That's insane. Like, I can see why people use Suzerain. I knew that supporters weren't... I mean, they're supporters. I figured they weren't really going to be used for, you know, killing enemies. But rather as a debuff. I will say what I might do off stream here. I don't know how late I'm going to play games with my friends tonight, but... Maybe we'll do a little bit more Arknights tomorrow. I know I said that last week and then didn't stream, but that's because I played games until like 3 in the morning with some friends. But I might try and see if I can't find these emergency ops down here and clear them. And I might try and get a little bit more stuff into our... What's this? Oh. Get some more stuff into the bank so that we can actually pull some out when we need it. But I'm interested to see... Interesting. I didn't read it, but... So she talks to... And so Carnelian's big deal. She's actually, I think, low-res really powerful. But she's trying to get treatment for a Lithanian noble that she looks after. I actually have no idea if Earthspirit is infected. But it looks like Earthspirit is doing some kind of test on... Or is she from Gaul? I thought she was... Lithuanian. Crown Jewel. Plainode Originum Circuit loaded with defensive arts. Interesting. They'll take turns using it and attacking each other. See how it resists. And then in exchange... Why does she want to show it to Maria? Oh, okay. And Maria is, that's really sweet. I've gained a chance to give Maria a nice surprise. Maria is... Blemishine. And she's like... It's funny because when Blemishine first came out, she was 6-star and Nearl was 5-star. And then we got Nearl the Radiant Knight. But lore-wise, Nearl is stronger than Blemishine in every single way. But Blemishine also likes to tinker with, like, engineering and stuff. I think the first time we met her in her event, she was with some retired knights trying to fix up, like, a jukebox or something. I really like Blemishine. She's a cutie. There's a lot of operators in there. I talk about my top 3 favorite operators being... You know, Nearl, Texas, and Siege. But there's a lot of them up there. I actually do like Lapland. Chen. There's just so many good designs in Arknights that are really, really wholesome. What I was talking about is... and I know I've mentioned this. I feel like I repeat myself a lot just because I don't know, anxiety, but... She, yeah, like the wiki, I've got it pulled up here, doesn't list another conversation log past this one. Which makes me think that we get IS-3 really soon. But to be fair, it would not be hard for them to add in another one of these, you know? Because, I mean, most recent example is the fact that Dorothy's banner was supposed to be before Gabrielle Invincible, and not only did that not happen, the next 2 banners also weren't hers. But, and I think there's supposed to be a monster hunt. I do think collabs, they don't happen super often, but I don't think collabs come 6 months later either. There's all sorts of things like that that cause a discrepancy between games that have like a CN or Japan server that are way further ahead of the EN server / global. But I wish I'd played this earlier, because like, you can read these online, but I just like having them, you know? But like, this one I don't think would have been hard. I think it would just been... This one would have been weird just because you have Mudrock who can't be healed by Warfarin. But you have DP Generate. Like, I think this first one would have been really easy. This one I also think would have been really easy, to be honest. Because you have to consider, I mean, overall, you're obviously going to get everything else. You're going to get other operators, collectibles and stuff. It's just how far, I think, can the, in my opinion, how far can the starter squad take you? This is overpowered. Calcit alone can do most of the early game. And I still want Palace, actually. This one I think would have been, like, the first kind of tough one, to be honest. I don't use any of these units. You at least have anti-air, you have... DP generation and stuff, I would assume. I think almost every Vanguard has DP generation. But I imagine this one would have been a little rough, like if you took an early emergency op. This one, I think I did on my 3rd try. Which we did this last one on our 3rd try, to be fair. This one has a good amount of DPS. You have... The issue is Seisa's a pretty terrible unit. Kaoba is really solid. Durnar's just pretty generic frontline. But Seisa's... Something about Seisa is just rough. This one actually was pretty easy. I don't remember if I did this on stream, but I'm pretty sure if I don't know if I first tried any of these actually, but this one's not going to be hard. This one was surprisingly easy just because as much as I'm not going to raise my Helliger, he's like E0 level 50. Helliger is solid, you know. I just don't think Musha's really a class that I'd like to invest materials in, especially for a 6-star how much it takes. But this was a solid one. This one we really struggled on. Like, we did not have a good time on this one. And then this one we did 3rd try. Mostly because we missed, like, I don't know. That first one we really did try to just invest in Carnelian and it backfired. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. Probably go eat dinner and play some games with some friends. I'm really happy with how this IS2 stream went, though. We did a few attempts on that, and then I think it was actually a 3rd attempt to finally get our sniper medic one upgraded. I'm still thinking about what the next one will do. If we stream this tomorrow, I just don't know what else to stream, to be honest. I thought about streaming the Genshin event to get Lisa's new outfit, but it was a really fast, short event. It was a sweet conversation we had as like the Traveler and Paimon seeing Lisa in Sumeru kind of turning down, returning to the Academia. But overall, the event was really, really easy. But who knows? Maybe when some new Genshin event comes out or something. I'm still just streaming once or twice on the weekends right now, so I'm perfectly content to keep streaming Arknights IS2 until IS3 comes out. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you next time.